Ladies and gentlemen, it's a brand new week here for Street Fighter League Japan. It's going to be week number 4 for those keeping track. And for those that may not know, my name is Vicious here with St. Colin to bring you another day full of action with our 8 teams. Actually, to be more specific, we have so many teams to go through here in the world of Street Fighter V, but these 4 are the ones that we're going to be focusing on the most. It's Saishukan Seoul Kumamoto versus Gyogun, as well as Camouflage Detonation going up against Ikuza. But before we get into it, St. Cola, first and foremost, hey man, how's it going? And second of all, what can we expect for this week's battles?
It's going really well because we're going to expect some hot action because these 4 teams are in the bottom rung, so they got to get it done, get as many points as possible. In fact, Gyogun is only 5 points away from Saishukan Seoul Kumamoto, and then Complement Detonation only 5 points away also from Team Hiroshima Itsuka. So they need as many points as possible to get up on the board and also prevent the other team from getting as many points as possible in this 3v3 we see right here. The way that things go for this 3v3 battle is as such. You put up 3 players, the 4th one's on the bench, home and away side squads go up. Away side goes up first. The away side puts up their team, and the home side is able to counterpick, but that isn't always the determiner or the case. It's like a slight advantage, but it isn't always a thing that swings in their favor. And yo, look at the guap, Vicious. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, there's a lot on the line when it comes to these leagues. 8 million yen, actually, to be specific, right? 5 million is going to be going towards first place, 2 million yen going to second place. And a nice chunk of change the way for third place with 1 million yen. But we've talked a little bit about the format. It's kind of similar to last season, but with a little bit of a twist, right? If there's ever a moment where it comes to a tie game, we go to that sudden death match with that 4th member, or actually not even the 4th member, but whoever actually the team sends up 4th. But just to kind of remind you folks at home in regards to how the battles go, with the first battle is going to be 10 points first to 2. Second battle, also 10 points first to 2. But the ever so important anchor match is going to be significant, right? That's going to be 20 points for that matchup. With higher points, there's going to be higher games as well. It's going to be 3 out of 5. So just to keep that format in check, you guys need to know that these guys have been grinding it out point after point, week after week. And we've seen the standings. St. Cola's actually talked about it a little bit. We got to get into our first team, the away team. Specifically, Saishukan Seoul Kumamoto, led by the Violent Emperor, aka the Brute King, Nemo. Followed by the man with the plan, the young prodigy, Higuchi, representing that guile on the table as well. Shuto, the little devil, aka the Emperor's protege, I should say. It's Shuto, rocking the Urian, and of course, to round it out, the legend himself, the Hermit of Shimane, YSC Mochi. We talked about how strong this team is under the guidance of Nemo. It could be either Falk or Urian under that guidance as well. We'll see how that plays out, but they already have their team set in stone as they are the away team. Who could we expect coming in from the home team to get this counterpick going?
It's going to be the team Gyogun trying to get it done, led by the 2D god himself, Mago. It's no longer September Mago, it's all year, all day Mago in play. Right after that, it's going to be Mr. Optimal himself, Mashimo, throwing that Nikali pick right back with it. Right after that is going to be Suzaku himself, Mizuha, with the Cody and Luke play coming through today. But last but not least is going to be the Hero of Sunrise himself, Moke, bringing back the Rashid, reminding people why that character is still super strong. And overall, this team is ridiculous with it. Super strong in terms of the character diversity, but also the players and the pedigree that we see.
You talk about the players and pedigree. You have a pretty well-rounded team. We've actually discussed this even prior to the show even going live, right? We talk about Mago being super consistent with that. Luke, very much so well-known being an aggressive player overall. Machobo kind of has that sort of game plan as well, can be kind of aggressive, but also picks apart his opponents based off what was dealt to him. The 2 players that actually I have my eye on the most is Mizuha and Moke. Mizuha, more specifically because of the fact that he's been picking up Cody on his stream and has been grinding some of these games out to learn a ton of matchups as these days go on. But Moke, I feel like, hasn't really had his chance to shine these last couple of years. Especially with the way that Rashid's been tuned for the season, right? So he's also picked up other characters like Falk. He's exercised that options a couple of times. So I wonder if you're the captain, if you are Mago, who would you be sending up first for number 4 against Saishu Kansou Kumamoto?
When it comes to Nemo, I'd like to see actually the captain go up on the deck, to be honest. I want to see Mago get back on form and really showcase why A, he's the captain, and B, why he's the 2D god. We've seen him lacking and slacking quite a bit. He lost a mirror match recently against Yamaguchi, where I thought he was really solidified when he had taken down Bonchan, not only in the anchor match, but in the first to one, same sort of thing. So I'd like to see him come with that energy that's been lacking a bit, because I feel like with Mago, he's kind of his own problem. He's kind of his own threat. It feels like when he's lacking, it's his own fault. So I'd like to see him come up on the deck to start off, to fight Nemo, to fight the team captain.
But it is in fact going to be Moke
instead.
Yeah, Moke is going to be coming in hot and heavy with Rashid. I think it's a really good choice to kind of get this out of the way early. You do have pretty much two parts of the season to go, right? Every single team in rotation, we do have 8 teams, by the way. Every single team in this rotation has to experience both the home and away side. So I think right now with Moke, I think it's going to be a pretty solid idea to send him up as the main counterpick to get himself acclimated to what's to come in later days of the season, right? You just have to make sure you get some of these wins, get some of these matches out of the way and get yourself primed and ready. So it is going to be the Rashid pick versus Urian. I still think Rashid does a pretty decent time against Urian for the most part. I think there's a lot of mobility to talk about and a lot of pressure to talk about in regards to what he can do against Urian. One of the biggest tools that Urian had been, that he used to have was the EX headbutt, right? That's it's going to be a very, very kind of like shallow analysis in regards to the matchup itself. But being able to take away, being able to apply pressure after something that critical is taken away on wake up for Urian is going to be ever so important for Moke. He has to keep everything airtight in regards to his pressure.
100% with it, the Moke having that V skill also get through the fireballs, so it's gonna be hard to kind of establish a neutral game with just the fireballs. You have to utilize those good buttons of Urian. However, Urian still has decent buttons. I mean, we've seen the medium punch work out and the buffers and the chariot tackles and things like that with the corner carry, the damage that is done with the character if he's able to land those hits, and the V trigger, even though slightly nerfed with being a little bit more in terms of a little bit slower in terms of the frame when it starts up. I still think it's like one of the most powerful V triggers in the game. So Urian's still a threat. We've seen that through the CPT. We saw that with Shudo recently in the CPT. We've seen it out here ever so often. So I still think that despite the fact that this might be Rashid's favorite, this still could be a good play right here if Nemo, who has been playing this matchup, grinding this matchup year after year, has a game plan for this new Urian.
Yeah, so we kind of see the stats below. We see what he's been doing. We see what Moke has been doing specifically these last couple of weeks, right? For the most part, Moke has had a pretty significant start, right? Just falling a little bit short. He was the anchor in the anchor spot against Team Ikuza. Fell a little bit short, 2-3 against, I believe it was Inaba. Then moving forward to the next week after that, still trying to rock the Rashid. Didn't find a lot of success against Sakunoko as he fell 0-2. And just to kind of remind you guys what had happened in the previous week, Moke started things off in a match against Fujimura, which actually was his most impressive bout. He actually got the W 2-1 against Fujimura, but it wasn't in a way that everybody expected, right? It was actually the debut of Moke's Falk, and it was actually mad impressive. I think, we wouldn't be too surprised, too shocked to see maybe the counterpick come in against Urian with Falk, because I do like the way that she is able to control within mid-range to even further out, but as it stands right now, it's going to be Moke still rocking the Rashid initially.
I think Rashid was probably it's probably a good pick. I do think that having that Falk in the back pocket is a good idea, but we have to remember that Nemo also plays Falk too, so he knows the ins and outs of the character. And I'm wondering, how well that's going to also translate to the match. Like, if we do see a switch to Falk, like, I understand what's plus and minus here. I know how to deal with the V trigger, which we've seen players have issues with, and maybe not V shift correctly or anti-air. Besides maybe like Inaba with his light punch. So that may translate, but it honestly might just be Nemo sticking with the Urian. Again, still a strong character. We've seen Nemo grind out on the stream continuously with this character. Has back pocket characters as Falk and Ed, but the Urian's still strong with it.
Right, and again, you've made the really important point of highlighting that V trigger one. In regards to like Urian's arsenal, I think that's always going to be the great equalizer. I'm going to call it that every single time, because in the history of that like move, existing, really. It's always been a threat, right? Like, Aegis Reflector has always been such a problem since even, like, Third Strike, right? So, for the most part, we're going to see how that strategy is pretty much revolved around that. I don't know if Nemo's even going to have to resort to it, but more often than not, I feel like when the Aegis comes out, you are always going to be in deep trouble, no matter who you are.
100%. You always got to guess. Back against the wall immediately. That's the important point about that. Nemo, when he had played his Falk, he lost against Daigo, but when he came up against Storm Kubo, just in the last episode, was able to get against the Alex and the Dan. Let's see if he's going to plan against Moke. But here's a fantastic start as Moke is able to get the throw and put him in the corner exactly where Rashid wants Nemo to be.
Super aggressive thus far from Moke, as we could expect. And I will say that is a big conversion there from Nemo, finding himself out of the corner with that crouching medium punch, just covering a lot of that distance against the counter poke that Moke was presenting earlier. And already off to it, man, that could have been absolutely huge if he actually converted off of that standing heavy punch crush counter.
Yeah, I mean, that could have put him against the corner. Now you have to deal with this V-trigger. However, Moke is able to activate his extension for some combos too as well. The lockdown pressure, wow. Did not get that B skill punish though from Nemo. But Moke able to round it back with the crouch medium kick just like that.
Couple of mishaps, but everything's still A-okay for Moke. First round on the board for him. Already off to a great start again. He's been catching Nemo off guard with his movement. Actually, his opening gambit has a lot of the time been movement into a counter hit button. And that's already going to be a stun. Critical art is on deck. I don't think he's going to have a full-on sequence to get the critical art finish just yet. Oh yeah, he's spinning the meter already. Just one more sequence as well. It could be a load. Could be a throw. Either way, Nemo, he knows.
Gotta find a way to activate. Gets the counter hit, pick up with the crouch, fierce the fireball. A lot of damage done. Ooh, nice little delay. Didn't get that last hit, but still. Oh, you trying to get the backdash, but Moke out of there. You talked about the movement off the backboard. Moke looking like some Barnum and Bailey's Carnival stuff.
Yeah, Moke is actually very fortunate that the crushing heavy punch slightly whiffed. What's funny is Nemo prepared himself for that very moment, right? You see the way he was backing up, and you see the way he kind of like spotted himself in that position. It was primarily to cover the movement, but he was just a little bit shy. And the look on Moke's face when he actually got the W, he was like, "Oh, that could have been bad." Like the look on his face was actually so funny. He was like, "Oh my god, I actually almost died."
He's talking about the strength of that V-trigger, like how deadly that is. You have to work around that game plan. Until Urian's down, you have to worry about V-trigger. And someone like Nemo is going to save that bar, not for V-reversal or V-shift, but for V-trigger. Different than Shudo we typically see. So, like, you have to worry about those instances, have to worry about the bar at the bottom. And Moke able to stay alive, but you know someone like Nemo is going to shore up that and clean that up, make sure that he backs up just enough for that crouching fierce to hit next time.
Yeah, best believe he's not going to be making any sort of critical error like that. And with the way that it was planted, that Aegis Reflector, had Urian gone off the wall directly downward to kind of avoid the anti-air, he was still going to be in like a very, very bad position getting caught. So Nemo, again, just a very, very slight mishap on his behalf. But it's going to be another game to play. A big whiff punish from the side of Nemo, actually catching Moke, overextending with the crouching heavy punch, and boom, the Eagle spike. Fighting his way out. Moke now stuck with a hard decision to make. How is he going to get out? Is it going to be movement? Is it going to be normal? Nemo's doing a great job of containing the turbulent wind thus far.
Side switch with the EX. I like that. Putting it back in the corner. Now looking for the activation. V-skill. Heavy mixer. Stuns rising right here beside of Nemo. And remember, doesn't have the real reversal to bust out. Activation off the heavy kick. Trying to get that stun. Trying to burglarize with the EX dive kick. But here's Nemo with the activation.
Back throw again. Looking to contain the storm. And he does so successfully, at least with the counter hit initially. Are you going to spend? I don't know about all that. That was a very critical error. No, not like this. No, Nemo, you got to be feeling that one. Yeah, you could see it on his face. He had a very, very much so critical error on that one. Had he just finished it with the tackle and the critical art, it would have been just fine. It would have been expensive, but he would have gotten the round.
He's spinning the win out here. He's in the end right now. Moke's on that set point. Gets across the follow-up. And now put back in the corner, coast to coast, so he can give up the ghost, the medium, gets the counter hit, the stun, 2 more sequences, and it will be close to done, I think. Here's one, heavy mixer. What's next? He really did it for the throw bait.
That was delayed too. That was really clever from Nemo. Covering the view reversal, you already know he has the option select on deck. Too far away to extend. This has been a couple of errors, that's fine. There we go, Nemo getting that recomposition after a couple of errors, back-to-back errors. My goodness, I gotta say, it was looking a little shaky for Nemo, but he is on the board. However, Moke again looking at match point now.
Up still staring down the barrel of what could be Nemo on the back foot. Nice whip punch, dealing with that heavy punch that has been kind of causing pain point. But here we go, Moke landing to confirm this time. EX, keep the pressure on. Nice reaction, knows that's not real. Back in the corner you go.
Still pretty significant lead from the side of Nemo. There's just so much that Moke is doing. One shot to initiate. Opener as well, slowly bringing Nemo to the corner. Oh, very similar sequences, back-to-back sequences for Moke, but that's gonna be more than enough, I feel like, for Nemo. Yep, you already know it, extending the combo. The scaling is a problem. Ooh, that was nasty. That was actually a sick sequence, by the way. That was the coolest. Yeah, a huge sigh of relief from the side of Nemo. Man, that headbutt not killing made his heartbeat like drop, or made his heart drop to his stomach for a little bit.
Able to pick that up and get that light kick to do it at that right distance, that light little shimmy that he had. And the great thing about that is, like, as soon as he recognized that it wasn't going to kill, he immediately shored up. He's like, let me get that little shimmy and get that stimmy right there and put me at game point along with Moke. Great play, using that B trigger to really route things back, and Moke really has to deal with that. He really has to find a way to deal with this V trigger, but again, you're forcing situations, especially if he gets the hit. That's clear 40% of damage in your life right there.
We got ourselves a little bit of a break here, putting ourselves in the character select screen for the most part. I have to believe that that's a decision Moke made to reassess against Nemo. I will say again, Nemo is slowly starting to figure out what Moke wants to do. I think Moke has done a great job of flipping the on and off switch in regards to how he wants to be aggressive. But either way, Nemo has shown that he's ready for whatever card, whatever hand is going to be dealt. He does have the counter hit strategy of being able to snipe out whether a Fierce is coming or if he's going to be dashing up, etc. Nemo's been prepared for that, and he's shown it specifically in that game, and I like it. Yeah, Moke now switching up the buttons a little bit. Causing heavy punch again is going to be the main tool for the most part, but yeah, we're forcing these errors against Nemo, being a little bit too eager.
Side switch, caught him tagging. 3-piece of the Batista bomb back throw to build that stun. The throw, there we go with the medium kick activation. Moke trying to push him in the corner, but look at these reversal buttons here from Nemo. His defense has been immaculate, and he's on verge of getting V-trigger. Moke, gotta be careful about giving him that. He'll get it off the V-trigger, off the V-skill, I should say. He's out of there. Oh!
I think that's fine for Moke. I think that's absolutely fine for Moke. Excellent defense thus far, and a big rebuttal from Moke, more than enough damage. Following it with the fierce spinning mixer. St. Cora. Moke has dodged 2 mirrors thus far and is still able to strike against Nemo. A big counter hit conversion, or sorry, counter poke conversion, I should say, from Moke. Again, another big fierce. That's back to back. Nemo's in trouble.
Look at how he spins out he spaces himself out with the fierce. In that right range, buffers it, and puts Nemo on the back foot. EXP out of there. Expensive spin, but he does have V-trigger. Could make the comeback just like that. He needs to do something right here, because this is set point. Moke once again, he's in the lead. Anti-air, the EX knees right down to the ground. You go. EX again. Don't press a damn button.
Don't do it. Don't you do it. Oh, you actually charged V-skill in front of Moke like that, huh? That's how you feel? Well, here's your prize for playing such a dangerous game. EX headbutt on reversal finds the mark. Moke tried to go for a throw to finish it, and Nemo had the right read. Very risky, and speaking of risk, here comes the mirror. It's still gonna be, yeah, forced to block.
And the medium kick to do it. Moke with the poke play, staying solid and disregarding, denying a lot of what Nemo wanted to do with the V-trigger 2 and the buttons. The buffers were on point. Moke getting his first win with Rashid against Nemo.
There was a lot to be said in regards to the preparation Moke has made specifically for Nemo. The way that Nemo was shut down, I feel like, was pretty blatant. It was actually pretty intentional. There was a lot in regards to the decisions he made throughout the set, right? In regards to like the movement, being the initiator majority of the times, and then kind of slowing it down and outranging Nemo's pace in regards to trying to steal some of these turns, at least trying to counter poke against Rashid. Moke has done a fantastic job of adapting against Nemo in regards to like what he's been throwing out there. Like everything's getting stuffed. You see the change up between crouching fierce and heavy fierce. It's been very subtle, I should say, but at the same time very effective from the side of Moke.
Yeah, I think those game plans that Moke had, like sometimes they were getting whiff punished with the fierce, the crouch fierce, but he stuck with it, knowing that there's a lot of reward in store in terms of corner carry. And right now, you see the anti-airs on the deck for Moke, that crouching medium punch, anti-air in the EX knees was really great. Not a lot of anti-airs on the side of Nemo. You don't typically see the heavy kick and things like that, but it's kind of difficult, you know, off the backboard with caught up in the corner. It is hard to challenge Rashid. So, you know, with those anti-airs being lacking, that did lead to some access points. We saw the dive kicks coming through also from Moke to open up Nemo. So those variants of variants of air, you know, situational normals, things like that, made it hard for Nemo to stop the approach. And on the ground, as we pointed out, the buffers were ridiculous with the crouch fierce. Moke definitely came to play today.
Yeah, for the most part, I think standing heavy punch was I think the MVP. If there was a stat for how many times that button was pressed, well, there should be actually, I should say, specifically to Rashid and Moke, because it was fantastic. You see the stats right here. Again, the anti-airs, all the DPs that have come out, as well as the grab and throw percentage. I feel like it's not going to necessarily tell the entire tale, but it is going to be significant, right? For the most part, you're thinking about how many throws Rashid can get against a person, because in the corner, right, we've seen that throw game be pretty effective. I feel like that's been like one of the biggest nuances that Rashid has, being able to throw an opponent into the corner and still apply even more pressure with like follow-up throws. Right? I wouldn't say it's necessarily a throw loop anymore, because you know that's already said and gone, but I think out of the entire cast, he's able to do something like that pretty consistently. If not an extra throw, maybe a couple of normals.
Now we'll see who's going to go up against Shudo, who's next up on the deck on the away side of things. You know, we talked about Machubo maybe possibly going up. I think Machubo would be a good idea, and then you put Mago at the end. But, you know, then again, also like to see Mizuha, what he's been working with, what he's been cooking with, such an aggressive player, and how that Cody will be implemented against Shudo's more defensive Urian. Mago. Camera's focused on him.
I love that smile, man. I love seeing the legend smile and how animated he usually is. So it's always a great sign to see Gyogun in such good spirits in an early, pretty much in an early bout. Where on the other hand, right, you have Shuto stepping up next. And I feel like respectfully, of course, between Nemo and Shuto, I think Shuto has had the better success with this character thus far. If it doesn't show in Street Fighter League Japan, it definitely shows in the World Warrior events, right? Being able to take week number 2 down pretty convincingly has to speak volumes here. But looking at his previous records as well, Shuto, he may have fallen a little bit short to Inaba, a little bit prior. Nemo actually got his W. Kubo, so that was week number 3, by the way. Week number 2, Shuto falling a little bit short again, 1-2. Overall, yeah, I think he still has a slight disadvantage in regards to like his win record thus far. But we'll see how it goes. Week number 4 is always going to be a different story. He's going to be on the away side. He's going to be the target of the counter pick. And it's going to be Mago, I believe, because there's a lot of camera time on the captain. So I'd imagine it has to be Mago's Cammy. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I didn't expect it to be Cammy. I didn't mean to say that. I didn't mean to say that confidently. I actually thought it was going to be Luke, but I did see it on the prompter from our producer. It is going to be Mago's Cammy.
Shudo says little Mago's been living in me. I'd like to show whether my little Mago or real Mago is stronger. Mago says Shudo is making no sense at all. Mago with the rebuttal. Going to the Cammy pick, I think this is a good pick either way because we've seen Cammy really be a big pain for Urian players throughout every season. I think it's still similar here. And I think that even though Shudo has a more defensive style that might use more of the V-shifts to deal with the dive kicks, it's still going to be difficult on the ground. And when you get put down, when you're on your back, you wake up, you have no real defense. Cammy just running into you and putting the pressure over and over again, it's going to be hard to get that win. However, Cammy is lacking in terms of health, so you have to play a little bit more perfect than last season.
Yeah, I think specifically for this matchup, there's a lot that Cammy can do to kind of outspace Urian and prevent him from getting some of these big moments going. Overall, I think Cammy can contest with Urian mid-range, close range. I think in close range, Cammy is going to be getting the better off of Urian, but even like within mid-range, Cammy has just solid buttons. Like medium pick has been the main deterrent for a lot of people. Although it is susceptible to whiff punishing because the recovery is a little bit longer, I still think if you're not whiffing it, it's such a powerful tool. But not even just that, right? Big counter hit buttons can be coming on from the side of Cammy, like standing heavy punch. Even low medium kick can really catch a lot of people off guard, trying to move out of the way in regards to like any sort of pressure. Because you've seen those instances in Cola when people will get some of these block strings going, try to micro walk their way out of it. Crouching medium kick does a pretty solid job of catching people off, or at least checking them for their movement, and also having a really large window, or a significant window, to confirm into a spiral arrow if need be.
And someone like Mago is going to be able to apply that pressure consistently. He's more of an aggressive type of Cammy player, more an aggressive type of player overall with all his characters. And when he's feeling himself, he is so hard to stop. So Shudo has to be careful in this match, though. I feel like Shudo, you kind of pointed out something earlier where Shudo winning the World Warrior, I think they kind of put a target on his back and made him one of the people to study. It was like, oh man, Urian's still really good. Urian's still able to work in a tournament setting. And Shudo is leading the charge for that. As you pointed out previously, Tokido was one of the people to say that he's like modeling his new Urian game plan over what Shudo is doing. So I think that kind of hinders Shudo a little bit in these early games, but now Shudo understands that too as well, being a pro player and understanding like I have to come with something new to get through all these matches. But Mago, again, we talk about him being his own enemy, his own worst enemy, where he was missing confirms against Yamaguchi, missing confirms that he had to have, missing, or just being too reliant upon fireballs at close range, got jumped in on. In a mirror match where I felt like he was going to win, Mago has to play better. He's got to put on his team and show that he is the captain for a reason.
You see Shudo being the spotlight, or sorry, being in the spotlight as the highlighted player. Thus far in the matches he has played, doesn't have like the strongest ball. I mean, not that I wouldn't say he doesn't have the strongest ball. Let me rephrase that. He does have, again, thus far, and he's been rocking out with
アカウント名キャプテンフリーダムさんからいただきました。 SF リーグのおかげで
It's still pretty early into it. It's only been 4 weeks thus far. Man, it's already been 4 weeks.
楽しみに見ています。
Flies.
そんな妻の推しは孫さんです。魚群頑張ってください。 嬉しいですね。
Time flies, we get some good Street Fighter out here at Street Fighter League Japan. It's definitely been quick with it, but I do feel like having 2 days out of every single week after week, allows the players to just exponentially get stronger. They're training together. They're practicing as a team. They're even going to other teams. I've seen team fight teams to get ready for other teams that kind of make like an easy alliance, just to be like, I have to fight this Urian. Can I get some sets with you? And they come through on the sets and things like that on their Twitch streams and stuff. So it's been great to see all this great action. It's flying by because I feel like everyone is just playing at their highest level to give us the highest amount of action right here. Let's see what's going to happen. Mago versus Shuto.
We had a little bit of banter before even going into it. Aru would actually explain that Mago's been his master since last year. He's always been with me, and Mago, with that kind of pressure, he's like, "Oh, well, I'll do my best."
Yeah, I didn't even know you were thinking about me like that, but all right.
Well, I think he was trying to interpret that on behalf of what Shuto was saying. So I can't even tell anymore. But either way, the back thrown out, coming in from Shuto. Yeah, that's gotta be, when you see bar, any sort of EX bar on this side of Nemo, you always have to assume the trigger is waiting to go, right, with that EX tackle.
Even without that, like just catching someone unawares if they're trying to walk through, someone like Mago trying to be like very much with the forward momentum, you got to be worried about the EX bar, as you said. But there's that medium punch every so often we see from Mago. Just has to be better about confirming some of these sequences. Look at that medium kick, checking Mago before he comes in. But let's begin. The spiral arrow Oki.
On the way over with the enhanced dive kick as well. Shuto still trying to occupy that space with crouching medium punch. Instead gets thrown out. Mago does get the activation here. Off the block though. Let's counter it. Is going to spend the EX? No. I was going to say critical art instead, but no, it's uppercut. He doesn't need to really worry about it now. Oh, or so I thought.
The after credit scene right here. He'll spin on the EX. Caught him lacking. Oh, got that. Let's hit the 3-piece. Not enough to do it. One touch. Careful of the super at the bottom. Yo, Mago, you gotta go for that chip, no dip, brother. Oh, with the light kicks. Pseudo. Word. Vicious. Yeah, sometimes you gotta spin to win. You gotta spin to win.
There was a moment to get chip, right? He had the chip, he just didn't have the dip. That's the problem. The dip was there though. I mean, like it was offered on the table, say Cola. The dip was definitely there. He had a full arrangement of dips he could choose from the menu. It was through ways of critical art. He had all 3 bars, right? He had access to 3 different types of dip. Didn't pick one of them.
Could have hit with the convert previously too. I mean, you're gonna eat those chips raw, you're gonna fall right there. Shudo with the first one. Mago has to clean this up. Sticking with the Kami, and this is definitely not a Kami problem. This is a Mago problem. We've seen him get hit with the EX. We see him get clipped on the way in. And Shudo now pressuring Mago in the corner.
Oos. Mago already being put on the ropes, essentially. With the way that Shudo's been playing. Just slowly but surely, the trigger is on deck. These dive kicks are still not going to be a huge threat against Shuto.
Yeah, he's more than fine right now to take some damage. And he's got the V-bar. We've seen him V-shift and punish these dive kicks. V-reversal, the throw though. Mago calls it out. But still, Shudo, and he's looking fine. There's the EX again. You done told him if there's EX bar on the bottom, he will spin. Get the EX cherry tackle to catch Mago walking. And Shudo is on set point.
I mean, do you see how this man, Urien, in his intro, like he walks in with a suit, right? If you hold the right sequences, he actually just burns that suit away. This guy does not mind spending that cash, right? Scared money don't make no money. Hence why he's been throwing out some of these EX tackles. But against Mago right now, again, he does have the lead, a slight lead at that, and he's not going to be as much of an aggressor just yet.
Power puts him in the corner. Medium backs away, knowing the V-trigger is at play at any point. Could get that crouching medium kick on hit. Shudo caught him jumping back. What are you jumping for? You know the V-trigger's in store.
Actually disgusting for spotting that out and actually punishing the jump back. That was so slick. Oh my God, he's dead. He's dead. You think you can get out of there for free? Even Mago was like, I can't believe it. You were ready for that? Oh, Shuto's calling him out right now. He is going in. He is popping off too. You could hear him. He's like, what's good, Mago? You thought you can get away from me? I am the new guard now. You were the 2D god. You have just been brought down to the mortal realm.
Man, that was, the future is now, old man. Oh.
The future is now. No, talk to me a little bit about the options that Shuto was presenting on defense, right? He covered the air game. He covered the escape options. Just the jump back snipe out with the Aegis Reflector. That was, you love seeing that kind of stuff.
It is so smart to utilize that feature in that sort of way, you know, to make them antsy up in the corner and then make sure that you have the option of spacing. It takes some work to understand the spacing. Even before that, we saw Shudo just sap away the health with non-committal buttons. Medium kick, forward medium punch, never making it obvious what he wanted to throw out, and always back inside the distance where those dive kicks weren't going to hit. It felt like Mago was dashing too many times and getting hit with medium punch buttons, and even when Mago had the amount of aggression, the momentum going and flowing, it wasn't enough because Shudo went back off just enough. And you see the anti-airs right there, 67%. Bro, I wish they could show how great it was for him to cover his bases twice with those V-triggers, because that was so sick. To cover his bases, those options, was amazing by Shuto.
I wholeheartedly agree. You can see the 67% from the side of Shuto being able to get those anti-airs pretty consistently, and it wasn't even just by ways of Mago getting any sort of jumps. Shuto had actually anti-aired a good, like every so often, a really, I guess, misplaced dive kick, or at least when he was able to spot out with like roundhouse too. That was so smart from him. You could see like the EXTPs from the side of Shuto. That's not really going to be a factor. We didn't see anything like that from Mago because he knew like he was in dangerous territory. If you were going to do something that risky against Shuto, you better make damn sure it hits. But yeah, that was a full shutout from the side of Shuto representing Kumamoto. But as it stands right now, we have 10 apiece from both sides, which means one thing. There's going to be no sudden death match here. It's going to be the anchor players coming up next. We have Higuchi hold it down for Saishunkan Soul Kumamoto. We can't expect a guile, and we're currently highlighted over Mizuha, which could mean one of two things. We might see the Colleen, or we might finally see that Cody come into play.
You do see, you said Colleen, and what's funny is I went to a stream recently, and he was messing around tinkering with the character, and I was like, is it time? He's like, well, maybe. So we might actually see that character. What's up with the deck? What he had said at least was Cody, but you're right, there might be the switch to Colleen if necessary. That matchup, still kind of difficult for the character. You do have to be more careful about getting, through the fireballs, because the EX bar spit for the vanity step takes a little bit more work and practice. However, if you do get it, you can still get your win. Colleen gets nasty up in the corner, so we could see that because he's been kind of de-rusting that character. Let's see if the Cody might do enough duty right here. Because on the reverse of things, Higuchi has had a lot of practice against Cody players. We've seen him work out against a lot of Cody players. Not even out here in Japan, but just in general through CPT or on ranked and things like that. Has fought Momochi quite a bit with it. We've seen him fight other Cody players. I feel like this season you have to understand how to fight Cody, so he'll be prepared. So Miza has to be something different with his play style.
Yeah, and I had slightly spoken earlier when I said we're finally going to see that Cody come into play for Mizuha. I will say that with the current record that Mizuha holds in his performances from the last couple of weeks, his Cody hasn't really seen that much success thus far from his debut into the season. In week number 2, he fell a little bit short to Tokido, which is also going to be like a heavy task, right, against the FAV team. In week number 3, I believe, he had to face off against Momochi. You talked about this earlier, whether it's in an official standard or official kind of playing field, or even in ranked or in battle lounges for that matter. Mizuha has fallen short against Momochi 0-3, so as it stands right now, we need to see a little bit more coming from Mizuha. We need to get his confidence on the board more importantly. So I do appreciate Gogun sending in Mizuha for this kind of pick against Gucci. But coming into the matchup itself, on paper, Cody versus Guile, we've seen a lot, pretty much this matchup a decent amount. We talk about one of the biggest factors that Guile has. Actually, two big factors that Guile has against the matchup. Fireball, obviously, and very far normals, right? I think Cody does a really great job of being able to counterpoke some of those normals and also getting past some of the fireballs presented, especially with V-Skill 2.
Oh, I agree. I mean, this is, if you remember, Daigo searching for answers against his character, playing all the choices possible to figure out how to deal with it. You have to change the rhythm. It's going to be different than fighting other characters because of that V-Skill too, and because of that V-Skill being able to get so much more reward off an option, off a trade. Let's see if Higuchi has something in the deck. He did say this is a very important match. He wants the viewers to enjoy it. Mizuha said he's been practicing most of the time. He'd like to showcase that in this match. Is he ready? Is this Cody steady?
Out slowly but surely. Oh yeah, he tried to get a throw bait instead. He actually got thrown within range against Higuchi.
Cool. Throw tag, qualified target combo, activation off the B skill, of course, and the forbidden nooch. That knife equip is going to make this neutral real nasty. You got to be careful about getting clipped with any of these normals, any extended range.
Oh, that was actually so smart from Mizuha, stuffing out the trigger, the first one, for those first couple of booms. But it led to this moment. Now Higuchi gets the chill and throws some of these sonic booms.
Getting up with the tech this time. Not gonna bite. EX though. Gonna hold the throw. Anybody's game.
We're gonna reload. Are we gonna reload on the knife? Oh, not anymore.
One more EX bar at the bottom for Mizuha. We'll be able to find a way in.
That was so far. I don't know what the idea was. I genuinely don't know what the idea was. Trying to reach that far with an overhead.
Overheading his demons in the distance. Like, I think he might have autopiloted, thought he was close enough to do it. Higuchi, though, routing it back. You see a little smile come from his face. And now riding momentum, getting the 4-piece flash kick with it. That B skill 1 also presenting a little bit of a pain point right here against Mizuha. Maybe harder to sway.
This is going to be so troublesome, right? Higuchi is in full control, does have a very significant life lead. He hasn't even been touched once. There we go, a big opener from Mizuha. Still not able to catch Higuchi off guard. It's so stable from Higuchi. He is not even sweating. That man's got full critical art as well. You already know he's going to spend it off a confirm. Higuchi, as well as his meter, is going to be seeing a lot of play again. Higuchi's been so consistent throughout every single match he's played. He's just been that dude. He's been that anchor person. And it makes a lot of sense. He's been dominating everybody.
Actually, you're 100% right with that. He's won all of his games. He is the breadwinner of Saishun Console Kumamoto out here. And putting him in the anchor position always makes sense. I mean, him being, I think, probably the strongest on the team right now, not only character, but also in terms of results. Definitely makes sense to put him out here. He's doing the work, and I like this gameplay. At a distance where he can get that fireball, but here we go, about to fall the target combo. Mizuha has to make the most of these corner positions as much as possible.
No, I wholeheartedly agree, right? But I think there's one thing to say about Higuchi is that he's always ready to fight no matter where he is on the stage. Really, again, being able to pinpoint where his opponent's mistakes are and able to capitalize on that. That's a big counter hit conversion now from the side of Mizuha. EX flash kick. You know what happens when those hit.
Time to get activated. No back throw though, bro. Trying to V-skill. Not a bad trade because Mizuha keeps him in the corner as much as possible. Now trying to find a way to activate. Has the lead. Baby Boomer gets the clip. Little bit of a hit. Smart at the bottom, but here's a crush for the heavy kick. EX and the heavy ruffian for the finish. Mizuha with better control in these early starts of the round.
Oh man, the sway is it's kind of rough when you have to challenge against a light boom. You have to kind of time it a little bit better. But I will say, I think it's, you know, the crouching sway is what you would want, because I think crouching sway into like the kick version would be a little bit further reach than the standing version.
And on that point, it's a little bit harder to punish right there for Guile. No, you're right. It is harder for Guile to punish that too as well. At max range, there's the overhead at that distance at the tip, now the activation. Finds a fadeaway, medium into heavy. And this was some corner carry with the B skill too. The throw, grip him up, put him down to the ground.
He was so close this time. He was actually so close. Slipping away from him, and that's going to be more than enough. Yeah, Higuchi ties it up, at least within this game. And a huge smile on his face as well. Getting into the next round, and what an expensive round that is. But I feel like with the way that he's been playing, I don't think him spinning that meter is going to be any sort of problem.
Gal is a battery, continuously putting on pressure with the normals and the fireballs too as well. However, you do see the V skill 2, the lower one right there to get it done. Just as you had mentioned, finally resorting to that option was Mizuha, and now pressuring Higuchi in the corner. Fierce dash up with the back though. Nothing from that dashing situation, allowing Higuchi to escape.
Oh, we talked about that sway again, using the crouching one into the kick follow-up. That's actually going to be huge, stopping Higuchi from moving forward, but that actually could have killed had he committed to the crouching jab.
There could have been crouching jab and a light kick and a heavy ruffian for the finish. Don't let this character stay alive. Don't let someone like Higuchi thrive. He might get that super and then put himself in a better position, and the V-trigger to back himself up. But it's just one good or two V skills or good jump in. Oh, what a walk up back throw.
yourself if you're Higuchi. I think a full comp. Oh, you're actually in critical art territory. You could actually die if you're Mizuha. Oh, wait. That could have gone either way. That actually could have gone either way. But on the board is Mizuha, retaining his composure, not getting thrown that second time was absolutely critical. Had he gotten thrown, it would have been lights out for sure.
Yeah. That would have been night-night right there. But it's becoming a better fight as Mizuha is getting a better lead. And when he does, it does get to like the second phase of the match where V-Trigger 2 comes out to play. He's got the lead and Higuchi has to route it back. And Guile, it's harder for him to route like a bigger comeback. Like he can definitely dump out the damage if he's got like an EX bar fully stocked up or a super and then V-Trigger behind. But in terms of like raw comeback potential, that's all in Cody's hands. And then you saw the V-Skill 2, the one that you pointed out, more that V-Skill 2 low coming through, harder for Guile to punish, to get a real punish to deal with. And even on trait, you're still getting V-bar.
So far, so good for Mizuha, at least in regards to regaining his composure and getting himself game number 2. There's a lot to really consider if you're Higuchi. But we'll see how it plays out into game number 3. Been pretty close and pretty steady from both ends. I do enjoy seeing the adaptations coming in from Mizuha. Let's see if he has enough to keep it up against the young Higuchi. Actually, I don't even know how old both of these players are. I don't know how old Mizuha is, at least. I know for sure Higuchi is a young man.
Yeah, I mean Mizuha definitely looks like a younger gun, but it's hard to tell. Higuchi definitely a younger gun. Seen do a lot of work out here. See if we can keep that pace. Oh, did not get that confirmed, and now you're gonna eat a ton of damage. A lot of red right there. Is it with the target combo to put him in the corner as much as possible? Harass him with those mediums and the heavy kick, of course, to stuff a preemptive boom and the air right there. The target combo. Let's get that stun.
Now, despite being in the corner, using the V-gates for the V-reversal, such an excellent choice to sway, finding the mark against the Sonic Beams, the enhancement as well. Oh.
Anti-air. Control from Higuchi, but that B-skill, once again, has been such a big pain point for Guile players around the world. And he's spacing himself out so well that it's, you know, he's fading inside the distance with a medium punch and then walking him out enough for the B-skill 2 to get the clip.
Pretty significant thus far in the matchup in regards to strategy. Again, that Sonic Boom is getting blown up little by little, but Higuchi is starting to find a little bit of an opening against Mizuha.
Heavy kick. I like that button coming out a little bit more. Stuffing about what Mizuha wants to do for it. Heavy kick activation. Here we go. Careful that crouching light kick. Has so much range. But you're going to stop from walking in with that button.
Yeah, already waiting for it. He was looking for that jump option, being at that space, right? Oh, little by little. Leveling down. Higuchi still manages to get that second round, that medium kick. Look at the amount of control that he's had thus far in that round specifically. It's been very back and forth between these two.
Feels like whoever gets that lead is really the one that is able to dominate. All right, take back the turn, interrupts the EX Zonk with the fireball, wastes the bar on the side of Mizuha, trying to find a way in. I like his crouch media kicks, just every so often poking away from the plus frames, trying to interrupt the boom with the V skill. No go. Flash kick puts him down to the ground.
Yeah, Tyler's there. Yeah, again, a lot of his options of trying to go airborne. It's so dangerous. I know you don't see Guile getting some of these charges. My God, was he too far for the critical art combo?
I think he didn't want to bet on it, but I feel like he could have got that. Either way, it's one hit play right here. The chip no dip could come through at any point. It's over.
Yeah, it could be over. Yeah. Nice and easy. Higuchi getting game number 3 against Mizuha. Yeah, I think what had happened was, even with that neutral jump roundhouse, I think it was just too far to get the cancel into critical art, right? You're hitting towards the tail end of the active frames where you miss that window. So it does make a lot of sense as to why Higuchi wasn't able to get flash kick canceled into critical art. But either way, when we saw that activation from Mizuha, you had actually called it. It's like, you know, this could be checkmate scenario because now you're susceptible to the chip.
it's one thing that Mizuha has to think about. Like, okay, if I don't have V bar to V reversal, I'm gonna have to hold this super. And in some situations, you might be still in the eye of the storm. Higuchi now the one to game point, and like looking at his match, he's so strong in putting out the control and routing it back when need be. Mizuha has to figure out a better game plan. Oh, piece.
This is gonna be huge. Damage as well. Didn't really spend any of the trigger. I imagine he's gonna use it more for pressure if need be, but here we go. Back throw. Now it's kind of chased down with the knee bazooka. He's still not spending any of the trigger, Higuchi. What's the plan?
Holding on to it. Still gets the knockdown. Too bad for Higuchi. Walk himself out of the corner. Get trigger off the table. Just to use that to walk himself out of the corner and not get got by all those great normals that Cody has enhanced by the knife. The plus frames on them knives. To be very careful.
Still. We're getting closer and closer to that win condition, Higuchi. Same with Mizuha as well. I think any confirm into critical art at this stage, yeah. Critical art confirm will be more than enough. No, spends the EX bar! Higuchi is looking to get it with a time over victory. Is he gonna get it? Man, it's so tough. Trying to chase down Kyle like that.
So difficult to deal with. Now Higuchi is the one on set point. I'd like to see Mizuha spin some of that EX bar, not just for EX Zonk, because obviously plus frames look fantastic, but for an EX Fireball to lock down the neutral, to deny these booms, because the B skill 2 has not been working enough. Higuchi will not give up enough space up in this place. He is not being forced. I do like the narrative of the neutral at the normals right here, utilizing medium kick and heavy kick to just put Higuchi on the back foot just a little bit.
Oh, that's actually pretty significant. But nothing on the table. You got to crush counter into nothing. That's so hard to deal with.
Zonk follow up? V reversal from Mizuha. Trying to get outside the corner, but upside down kick. They get the EX, of course, knees with the reset, the throw, Dragon Suplexo down to the ground. He's got 2 bars of EX to stop Mizuha from coming in, but Mizuha needs to find a way to activate. We'll do it off the heavy song with the slow. Still got the hit off the lows. My turn to party. Upside down kick off the baby boomers.
Upside down kick. You already know, hook, line, and sinker, that is checkmate. Again, Higuchi has been an unstoppable force here in Street Fighter League Japan, and has been such a critical key player, critical player I should say, for Saishukan Soul Kumamoto.
The breadwinner still pulling back money, coming back home with a full stack of cash and a full stack of points. That's 20 points after the anchor position, and a big win for their team in the end. Higuchi, as you have pointed out, just continuously consistent with it and adjusting the game plan ever so often to just make Mizuha feel uncomfortable. And we just got the age stats from production. Higuchi's 21 years old, Mizuha 28 years old. Yeah, Higuchi is 21 years old because his birthday was just recently. It was like 2 weeks ago or something like that. But congratulations again to Higuchi for some fantastic play.
Man, 21 years old, huh? What does that feel like? What does that feel like, being one of the best players in the world at the young age of 21? Like, that's super impressive, man. Really, really impressive. Hats off to you, man.
Hats off to that game plan too as well. The gameplay was really great. I think if Mizuha would have fight, I mean, there's not really any other guys besides Daigo. I like Mizuha's game plan. I just wish there was more of the EX Fireball. If you're trying to dash to get your win, to deal with those normals of Guile, if you're not going to utilize the sway, use the EX Fireball to claim some space. It's one of the best EX Fireballs in the business, one of the best usages of just EX Bar, because the EX Zonks were getting clipped with neutral jump or every so often with the booms would preemptively interrupt the EX Zonk from coming through. So now we're getting the winner interview. I'm sure they're all super happy at another victory from Higuchi. Again, the breadwinner. But it's not like the rest of the team did not do work out here too as well. with Nemo's play today.
嬉しい勝利だったんじゃな
Oh,
いですか
especially with Shuto, right? Getting him the 2-0 victory over Mago is gonna have him feeling pretty confident, and he played confidently, right? I think that matchup still is in favor of Cammy being able to navigate the way that she does with walk speed, having that airborne approach, having great normals to suppress Yuri midway through or even like up close. I think was a lot to be said in regards to how Shuto is prepared. But yeah, you can see it. You can even see it in the interview. He's saying, finally, I was able to show the strong version of my Urian play. Like, he's been down a little bit in regards to his overall record. He hasn't found that significant W just yet, but he now has his first set under his belt. He's got to be feeling pretty good about it. He does feel pretty good about it.
Absolutely. And Nemo says the team wants who can sleep well. He's going to sleep very well, get some points on the board, and passing some of these players up with teams, I should say. But it's always great to see your team, come back for you. Obviously, Nemo is the team captain, but to see them shore things up in the second and last matches too as well, for that to happen, like, you got to be feeling really great. The side really coming there from Nemo. Shuto also says the teammate helped him. Little Mago assisted him as well. We'll actually continue to do well with his teammate, and Mago saying, kind of saying some jabs over at Mago. I'm sure Mago is hecka tight right now.
We are getting a couple of words from YFC Mochi and how he feels in regards to like how his teammates performed, right? I think I love having Mochi in the mix as well, specifically for this team. He's just such a powerful weapon, and being able to not even just like be that Dawson player, but also have the kind of perspective of how the matches are going and being able to provide some insight just in case. But as it stands right now, what he actually said, although he's the reserve, Street Fighter League is still a team game, and he gave up credit to the young ones, right? He said the young ones worked hard today, and hoping to like see them continue to do well.
YC Mochi, sitting on the bench, probably still able to give them some tips, things like that. Higuchi said he had fish for lunch and dinner today. It was a tough game. Empowered by the Omega Fatties, Higuchi having some fish and being able to make a delish out here and serving up a side of Gyogun. Man, oh man, what a great match. Going into this, I thought Gyogun, I honestly thought Gyogun was going to be able to take it considering how strong their match is, but
that was actually kind of funny. I wonder what it was actually like for Higuchi immediately after having fish for both lunch and dinner. I feel like keeping that consistency is what fueled his victory, right? Having some of the leaner proteins, I should say, some of the lighter proteins in your diet will always like lead to success. Because I feel like if it's any sort of meat, you'll feel like sluggish throughout the day, right? You have to process all that energy, trying to get your all your digestive system going. It's always going to be a problem to like having to fight that off while playing. So I think fish was the key to success for Higuchi. And my man Nemo was like, I need to treat Higuchi to some sushi, and Higuchi was like, nah man, I want some meat.
He said training for Gyogun is over. It's time to dine with some steak tonight. And Nemo said, we've won this. We're moving up in the ranks. Shuto had lost confidence, but after today's match, he regained his confidence back, and we saw that in the match. You had pointed it out, and we saw how consistent he was for the anti-airs. And he said, please continue to cheer for our team. And it's hard not to cheer for them, to be honest. The way that they're coming back to the break, not only just Higuchi being so solid, but also Shuto getting his victory. It's always great to cheer for these players that are like, they find their confidence back. It's so hard, so difficult to find these top-level competitors out here. And even the top-level competitors, they have slumps, they have divots, they have problems where they're just like, well, how do I figure out how to, maneuver this new character after this meta? But you see it right here, Shuto staying solid and back in the driver's seat against a very tight match. Well, I don't say tight match, but a very important match for him against Mago.
Yeah, a lot of important matches overall, right? We're starting to see Shuto get his confidence back, but even on the other side, right? I think another thing to note, although Gyogun was at the deficit. They were on the losing side this time. I think having Moke get that W early is going to be a surefire sign to come that is going to be like a lot of confidence coming in from the young man. So we'll see how that plays out in later episodes. But as it stands right now, looking at the stats overall, man, that is a pretty high percentage in regards to the anti-air department coming in from Mizuha. He did get clipped a couple of times over trying to get some of these jumps, but I gotta say, from Mizuha, sorry, from Higuchi, getting EX flash kicked at least one time, that's got to do some mental damage. Over in the grab and throw department, we see a lot more often than not that Higuchi is going to be landing some of these throws against Mizuha from that set.
You know, those anti-airs on the side of Mizuha were primarily like stand fierce, which weren't really damaging. You typically see Cody with the heavy ruffian, things like that. Maybe a follow-up with the knife into like a ruffian. So I'd like to see him shore that up a little bit with a little bit more damage. But however, Cody's anti-airs add up to a totality of a great toolkit. But we didn't see all of it today. Mizuha has a little bit more work, and it's going to be even harder when you go up against someone like Higuchi, who's so ready and steady in that match. We're going to go back and look at the results right here. 30 on the side, once again, of Team Seoul. The sun is shining on them as they eat up some fish. The Gyogun only getting 10 points and walking away, at least with something.
Right, having these points is going to be so important to notice, right? Or something so important to note, right? And we have to make these like slow and steady progressions, but still get some of these points on the board rather than getting full-on shutouts. As it stands right now, again, Gyogun was coming into this at 55 points. This boots him up to at least 65. It is going to be 65, not at least. That's going to pretty much take it over V6 Plus FAV thus far, but still, they have one game differential in comparison to like the other teams out here, so we'll see if that's going to be shifting real soon. As it stands right now, we're taking a look at the replay. Moke again had a decent amount of control against Nemo's Urien. What are we taking a look at here?
What we're seeing right here is, you know, there's that control right here from Nemo to utilize that V trigger, but wasn't able to shore up some of these hits. You know, we did see him route it back. That light kick was able to steal it, but then we saw that fierce, as you had pointed out, continuously coming through as one of the biggest buttons, the MVP button of the day from Moke. That was a sick sequence though from Nemo. You cannot walk away too upset after landing that and being able to clean it up. However, overall, the neutral was definitely ruled by Fierce, Crouch Fierce for this character. And look at how much damage he has with 2 bars. Oh my god. They said Rashid can't do damage. If you have enough bars, you can go far. And especially with that V-trigger too as well. Look at this defense right here. V-shift. Just holds it in the medium kick, nice and neutral. What did we see though from Shuto versus Mago?
A lot of control, Senkola, a ton of it. Whether it was on the ground, whether it was in the air, Shuto had the answers. And I gotta say too, kept it really sneaky in regards to his movement. Mago couldn't track down when he was charging up for EX tackle and got clipped by it 2 times over. And we can see Shuto again. We talked about that control just in this corner alone. It was enough to keep Mago locked down. I'm just watching here. Look, take a look at this. Not even flinching against it. But Mago actually, again, I think that was his fault, right? Not spending the critical art where he could have, where he could have gotten chip damage.
I took all the air out of his sails, and I feel like that was kind of the turning point. And why are you jumping against a character that has so much range? He even backed up for that. So not strange to see that. And then we see this ridiculous match right here with Gucci. We talk about control Street Fighter 5. You can definitely see it exemplified here. Mishaps on the side of Mizuha withstanding. You see the punishes though. Higuchi ready for dang near anything, able to challenge even this forbidden reach, the extended reach of these normals, and having a bar to steal things out with a super. Just typical game plan right here from Higuchi.
Yeah, it was pretty back and forth thus far, but I will say, yeah, Higuchi numerous times calling out some of the Zoc knuckles with some of these jumps has been such a critical point in regaining that momentum, or at least sealing the deal in some of these matches. But I will say, like, to Mizuha's benefit, I think he did a fantastic job of fighting his way out of certain scenarios. And again, keeping this offensive pressure super ambiguous, catching some of these counter hits against Higuchi. And look at that, just tracking him down as well within the space to catch, or give him enough time to react to any sort of jumps that come his way. But overall, I will say there was a couple of subtle mishaps he had. Yeah, flinching against the upside down kick was one of them. But who can blame him, right, from that close? It's like, do you sit there and take the throw and then get further chipped out, or do you even try to risk it? He went for the latter, so he paid dearly for it. That's quite the fee to pay in regards to like trying to take back the round.
Definitely in debt right there, but Higuchi walking away with a fat stack of points once again, 20 for the anchor position, 30 overall for the team. But you know, again, Higuchi just so strong. You see the game plan, and you see how he switches up too. Again, I would love to see more of the ES Fireball from Riza. We saw that in that one instance where he's able to seal it and force Higuchi into some uncomfortable positions where he had to jump out of the corner. But as you said, you know, we see Soul shining right here and moving on in the bracket. I mean, this has been fantastic action, and we're not even done. We still have another match to play today.
And whatever this meal is, whatever this advertisement is, I'll tell you what, man, I think Higuchi should take note to take 3,000 yen off if he's looking for a little bit extra for his dinner. If he doesn't want fish, he can definitely get this for whatever it is. But all jokes aside, again, it's been pretty good to see Saishukan Seoul Kumamoto pretty much shine in their matchup this week. They did have a very steady climb thus far, even from week number 3. They have a good amount of points going into this thing, right? Saishukan Seoul Kumamoto has like 50 points, but it's still going to be a significant jump forward. And I will say, you know, I'm really excited to see the progression and growth from both ends, from both Saishukan Seoul Kumamoto as well as Gyogun.
Yeah. I like the fact that, again, once these teams just feel even more stacked than previously, so once it gets so hard to call who's going to get those wins in the end, it looks like that was a food called Nosh, actually. It's a packed meal. I hope that wasn't fish. For Gyogun's sake, I hope that was not fish. But I hope we get to see more action.
Yo, Hamiko is trying to, like, coming up. He's trying to analyze what's in there right now, and he's going to go for that bite.
It took the biggest of bites. I wonder.
I wish.
The way he's chewing that, it looks like it's delicious.
I want to know how
it's fried chicken with Japanese chili. Bro, that sounds
Oh,
delicious.
word?
Fried chicken with Japanese chili?
For that. Can we get that sent over to stateside? That'd be pretty cool. Actually, no, don't. It's perishable goods. It's gonna be very hard to get that in here into the States. So don't do that. Never mind.
Maybe we can
I know how
go
it goes
there
with
during maybe Evo Japan.
Maybe. That'd be very nice.
Let's see.
Possible. My man's got a full mouth, man. Come on, you got to finish that up.
He's focused. He's focused. They said it actually smells so good in the studio. Oh my God, y'all are making me hungry. Definitely hungry. But if you're hungry for some more matches, we're not done just yet. We still have more to go. But as you know, again, we're getting down to these lower half of these, these teams where they're sitting in the bottom, trying to work their way up, climb their way up to the top spot to get out of that divot, out of that trench, out of the mud as much as possible. Up next, going to be home Team Hiroshima, Team Itsuka, going up against away Compoma Detonation on the deck.
I'm really curious to hear what they're talking about, to be quite honest with you. I'm just looking at it.
Man.
Like, these guys are going to be going in for the rest of the show, I feel like. But as it stands right now, again, we have no food at the desk. I feel like, you know, it is 5 a.m. on the West Coast. It's got to be, what, like 7 a.m. for the side of St. Cola where he's at. But for the most part, I will say, you know, like, if you're looking for any sort of, like, you know, anything to fill your appetite in regards to Street Fighter V, you definitely have it here. That is for certain. I will say, again, with Camouflage Detonation coming up against Team Ikuza, we're looking at their previous performances. We're looking at the current amount of points. You know, Detonation is currently in 7th place, if I'm not mistaken. Team Ikuza trailing just right below them. We talked about being the bottom 4 teams up on deck for today. These are going to have to be really, really convincing games. Right? They have to be like games where you get some of these 30 points. Like, you don't want to keep it down to like 25 in a tiebreaker. You don't want to get shut out 0-40. You want to try to at least aim for 30. It's ideal, I feel like, to get 30. It's reasonable to get 30. But yeah, again, a lot of these teams right now, specifically these 2 teams, are at the bottom of the group with 7th and 8th currently.
Yeah, you definitely want to shut out as many points as possible from the other team and not let them get higher and higher, especially so they can't get that high amount of yen so they can buy as many of these dishes. And right now you see Itsuka on the deck coming up to play today. I can't wait to see what they have in store. We have not seen Crusher really make a victory. It's been loss after loss, but we've seen how well he worked out in CPT. So I feel like once again people all see these players get to these top spots at CPT, like World Warrior tournaments and things like that, and say, I have to be prepared for a birdie. I have to be prepared for this character and this player. So, you know, we're going to see that possibly today if Crusher does come through to play.
We do have to get ourselves prepared for Street Fighter 6. It's pretty much going to be happening next year, but for the most part, if you guys do not know, I'm pretty sure they're going to show this ad later on, but October 7th through the 10th, we're going to have a closed beta test. We even had an announcement from Luke himself saying, you know, I want to see you out in the streets. That's going to be pretty interesting. Man, I love, by the way, I really enjoy, I'm a fan of Alex Lay. I'm a fan of his work. So big ups to him for the English side of being in Street Fighter 6. That is my guy out there. But again, for the most part, you want to make sure to mark your calendars, man. October 7th through the 10th. You're going to see it even so on one of these ad slides. But the characters thus far that are going to be available, I think it should be the Tokyo Game Show build, which includes Kimberly and Judy, along with the other ones that have been announced or at least have been playable for some of these demos. But as it stands right now in the realm of Street Fighter 5, we still have another World Warrior event, right? Coming up October 22nd.
October 22nd on the dot. Make sure you are watching that. It's been getting down to the wire. We were in the, I think, the 4th month for all of these World Warrior events, so we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, and then we're going to have the finale in December. It's so hard to call who's going to be taking it. So hard to call who's going to be in the top spot because we see only John Takuchi really be the most consistent one to get it done, getting in first place and then second place. But when it comes to top 8, it's your favorites are barely ever there. Sometimes you see Daigo, sometimes you see Tokido, sometimes you don't see those same players up in those spots. So they're gonna have to get as many points as possible, especially with this 3rd one coming up.
Yeah, we'll see how it's going to play out here for the second set of matches between Komufan Detonation as well as Hiroshima Team Ikusa. When we return, we're going to have even more of that Street Fighter 5 action coming in from the land of Japan. We'll see you guys in just a bit.
安全にな。
お、新入りかな。いい顔に撮れてるじゃないか。改めて担当教官のルークだ。よろしくな。
手加減は期待しないでくれ。
さあここからは松の模様をお届け
The
してまい
matches
り
are
ます。
too hot to stop out here. Street Fighter League Japan. We are in the second set. Team Hiroshima Itsuka going up against Comprised Detonation. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. But before we get to the fisticuffs, we got to run those introductions real quick. My name is Seikola. I'm doing with Vicious, my dog. How are you feeling about what we're about to see?
You
know, we're really excited to see it so far. We have these two teams coming up against each other. It's going to be Camouflage Detonation first on the away side. Let's take a look at who's going to be stepping up to the plate. If y'all haven't been introduced to this team, let me do it for you, right? We do have, of course, leading the pack, we have Itabashi, followed by Nauman. On the hero side, the side of the brave, it's Nauman. I love his intro, by the way. The babyface trickster, John Takeuchi, coming in strong, hot, and heavy with that Cody. And to round it off, it's the Ace's return. Uryo with that role. Legendary players all across the board, right? Especially under the tutelage of Itabashi Zangief, who has the Wreath of a Madman. Again, the strong arm pillar, leading the pack, being the captain, has access to that. G is doing pretty well for himself.
But they're going to tall order ahead of them. This is Team Itsuka up on the deck, starting off strong is the Storm reset himself. Storm, Kubo, Abigail, Alex, and many more in play today. Then we've got Gunfight with my guy Alex and Oral from behind. This dog super strong with it now. We also have the Crux, Inaba himself, one of the most technical bices in the business. Last but not least is going to be Coward. Sia taking a big bite of that donut, and the competition is Crusher with that birdie play today.
I love this team, man. I gotta say they're pretty animated overall. It's quite the ragtag group of people, to be honest with you, man. I did not expect Gunfight to be on this team. That just pretty much came out of nowhere. I had forgotten he actually had been participating in a lot of events in Japan. He's actually living there now, so it was really cool to see him even thrown into the mix. But also really excited to see Crusher and Inaba, right? I wanted to see like how they were gonna add their flavor to the mix for Street Fighter League, and I gotta say overall it's been very impressive. Taking a look at it right now, who's on the away side? It's going to be Nauman, John Takeuchi, and Itabashi rounding it off for Anchor. Ooh, pretty interesting.
Wow, Rio once again on the bench, the only player this entire Street Fighter League season thus far to not play a single match. We have not seen him get off the bench just yet. Maybe they haven't found the right way to place them, but maybe it'll come through if it's the first to one. But for right now, Oreo wants the bench. Once again, we're going to see who's going to go up against them. Let's see if it's Storm Kubo. They're talking about Storm Kubo. They're talking about Crush, I should say. Maybe Crush will be the first one on the deck. Birdie as the first play. First character.
Ooh, okay. Let's see if that's confirmed. It is actually going to be confirmed? Okay, great. So it's going to be Crusher with the birdie play. Going up against Nauman's Luke specifically. Now, kind of a tough match. We don't really get to see a lot of birdies in play as often anymore, even in the realm of like CPT, but for the most part, I think there's got to be one of two things here. I think Crusher has had like the advantage of being able to scout out a lot of these Luke players and still be comfortable with his main character. Right? I think there's a lot to be said in regards to that conversation. But overall, I think Nauman has had such a succinct understanding of how to play the game of Street Fighter V as a whole, that he's able to pick up a character like Luke, who has the complete package and is able to find a lot of success. So it's going to be very difficult to see, I think, Birdie try to navigate his way in this matchup to get past some of the Sandblasters. Like, he does have kind of like some answers for Sandblasters with the Bullhorn being able to surpass certain fireballs. You kind of essentially treat it like a Zonk Knuckle. But I think, for the mid-range game, I think there might be something to be said for Birdie that outclasses Luke in terms of range. Like, that standing heavy punch is going to be a pretty big deal. Standing medium punch is going to be a swift enough tool to get some of these counter hits, or at least with punishes going. So it really depends on how Nauman's defense is going to be like in this matchup, I think, more so than his offense.
I agree. He's gonna have to find the gaps and get in close and personal without taking too much damage, because Birdie definitely dumps it out. However, if Nauman can put Crusher's Birdie in the corner, it's going to be hard to stop the oppression. That medium punch, a crouch arena kick are even more dangerous buttons when you're caught up against the corner as Birdie, and you don't really have the sort of defense that other characters have. You have the armor that comes out on 3-frame, and then you have, other decisions like your V-shift and things like that. But otherwise, Birdie really suffers up in the corner. The strike throw, he really suffers to just getting gripped up over and over again. And we see, I think even in the mid-range, you do have some decent buttons. If you can get past the heavy punch, past the medium punch, the wall of buttons, you can start implementing your own crouching medium punch, medium kick, and things like that. The reward that you get, even without bar from Luke, is ridiculous. But again, with someone like Crusher, who's been playing this character for years upon years, even allow that to happen, even though the character has been nerfed, we've seen the economy of buttons being spent from this guy, and he's taking them to the top spots at, you know, CPT. Maybe not out here in Super League Japan, but this could be his day today.
It could be, right? In regards to the head-to-head record, I think so far Nauman has the better record. He did have a W in week number 1 against Dalsim and against Tori Meshi's Dalsim, getting 2-1. But overall, since then, he hasn't really found that kind of success, especially against Daigo. Not Daigo, against Akira specifically, against Cammy. Very fast character, very fast player. Let's see, in week number 3, he fell short as well, or did he even actually get to really showcase himself? Yeah, he did. Okay, so he did fall short to Pugera's Balrog as well. I missed that week. I wasn't even there. But I think overall, he does have a slightly better record than Crusher, who hasn't really found his W just yet. He did have like a win in a set, but he hasn't actually scored any points on the board for his team yet.
Yeah, he lost to Dogros, Bison, and Kali from Machobo, so this has got to be the day to play. You got to get some points up on the board for your team, and Crusher looking to do so against Nauman. Has said he has studied his duties against his character, you know, and I like that you pointed this out previously. Crusher's been playing Birdie for so long, has not switched over to any other character, has stuck with him, tried to the nerfs, whereas other Birdie players have either picked up other characters or dropped them completely. He is still stuck with the Birdie pick to do it, and that may help out comfortability. Nauman is a type to pick up a character with the quickness. We've seen that with the Sakura pick. We've seen them, you know, do work even recently in Street Fighter League Japan last year with the Ken a little bit with it. But overall, I do think that, you know, that might give Crusher a little bit of help. But the way the playstyle that Luke allows you to play, that aggressive style, if need be, you know, that burst kind of energy, Luke helps out with that. And that's the way that Nauman wants to play every so often. We see that with the Sakura play. We're going to see it with the Luke play. It'll be a test of who has studied the most.
We'll see. They're going to be put to the test right now. Here we go. It's going to be the first game between these two titans. It's going to be Crusher from Team Ikuza versus Nauman from Combo Fight Detonation. Game number 1.
Like in that distance.
We kind of talked about this.
Those fireballs.
We're looking at the fireballs. Exactly it. Yeah, we're trying to see how he's going to traverse the fireball game exactly against Nauman. But again, we do get these sequences. We're talking about defense against Nauman, and that's the kind of instance I was hoping Nauman would be ready for. When is that command grab coming? But it could be a little bit too little, too late. Crusher, my man, being super steady in round number 1.
You also see him whip punishing some of the normals of Luke, you know, like be able to deal with that medium kick starter with his medium punch, and Crusher put him in the corner with the EX already with the bubble yum. Tons of fun to lock him down to the plus frames. In reverse of things, if Birdie puts you in the corner, he has so many great tools. Heavy kick, the fierce right there, charge edition too as well, the medium punch, and then good closer buttons like the crouching light punch right there. Oh my God, the medium and the throw. Sun's rising.
Oh, that could have been so catastrophic. We've seen what had happened before from Fujimura if you catch Birdie with a crush counter back roundhouse mid-air. But luckily for Crusher, he didn't face any of those repercussions. Now he's going to control the pace a little bit more, right? We're talking about the extensive normals, the very long-reaching normals that Birdie may have, and also his ways of getting around sandblast. We saw the slide also being one of those tools. But still, you cannot advance for free because of how great his lights are and the conversions he gets off of them. Right, we've talked about this earlier. Crusher and Birdie, it just makes sense. Like with Birdie, you get to utilize some of your faster normals to get some of those whip punishes. Like Sinkola, how often did we get to see standing medium punch convert into anything really off of a whiff punish? Pretty often, right?
Dang it. Yeah, pretty much dang near often against, especially a character that gets so much off their buttons. The lack of fear from Birdie, Birdie from Crusher. I mean, they're the same person basically. By the way, you know, like how attached they are. But the lack of fear against those buttons from Luke that we see implemented. I think Nauman was thinking going in like, oh, he's gonna be fearing my buttons with the fierce and the medium kick and things like that. He sounds at that distance. The medium punch comes into play for the corner carry, and things get scary. You have to worry about the heavy kick, charge up fierce as we talked about. That corner pressure that Birdie has is ridiculous. And when he wants to close it out, out. I got to keep highlighting it. Crouching light kick, crouching medium kick, easy poke buttons, non-committal. This is allowing Crusher to be real steady up in this match.
I think that's absolutely right. In regards to how he was playing, non-committal is definitely the key. Like, he's got so many normals where you don't even have to really commit. Just kind of emphasize that point. Some of Birdie's lights do a really good job of deterring any sort of movement, any sort of dashes to get a solid check in it. You don't have to do anything that's like that has longer recovery. It's really convenient for somebody like Birdie. He really does need something like that to fend off against the rest of the cast thus far. Still a really dangerous threat thus far. Does get the V-skill charge up. In front of Birdie's face, by the way, Crusher, again, does not have that kind of walk speed to capitalize on that, or at least to punish something like that.
Correct. Now I'm getting a better round start off that double knuckle medium charge addition. Crouch Fierce had the bumper, puts him in the corner once again, but caught him coming in counter hit off the medium in the target combo. That's Oki. And again, more Oki. And again, puts him against the corner. One more touch. One more hit. We'll do it with the throw pressure again. Give up all that what Birdie wants to do on defense. Here's the activation.
Had to do it. Yeah, low forward fireball is the killer here for Nauman, getting the first round. Pretty convincingly, by the way. There was a lot of buttons on Wake Up from the side of Crusher. We talked about the defense a little bit from Nauman, but as soon as he gets that opening, that offense is pretty solid. And look at that opening again. EX Flash Knuckle, getting the shoulder tackle as well. Covering the option just in case to jump out of the corner, but now it's Crusher's time.
Oh, didn't activate. Now I'm gonna get that Oki in the back throw. Let's get that stun and done. He's got the bar built up for the super. Doesn't even need to do so to find the finish. Nauman back with it, and we talked about that aggression, that burst of gameplay, but also Crusher's defense lacking on Wake Up. I mean, it's already hard. You don't have a 3-frame, you don't have a DP for them to worry about. So you see him getting a little bit anxious up on the Wake Up decisions, but that's just giving more Oki to loop over and over again, and that was a quick one.
Yeah, that was I think the fastest game we've seen thus far in the league. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that was actually the fastest game on record. Yeah, I gotta check the time on that one. My wristwatch is broken. But I will say there's a lot to be said in regards to like Nauman picking apart his opponents. I think we highlighted a little bit too much on defense and what needs to be done. I think the best defense is a great offense. Right now for the side of Nauman, we've seen it. It was pretty effective, right? We didn't have any sort of significant answers from the side of Crusher, nor did he even have the time to do so.
I think that's actually the case. We saw the jumper situation too. Too committed to the ground approach to that medium punch, that whip, and Nauman got that hit, the jumping corner carry with the quickness. I mean, we highlighted how good Luke is off of exchanges, what he gets off his dang near any of his buttons. And if you give him that opening, he is going to take so much of your health and put you continuously in bad situations. If you try to leave the corners, leave the crosscut DP easily, someone like Nauman will be able to do so. All even up. Let's see if Crusher has an answer.
Hopefully he has something to contest against Nauman. We don't want full-on shutouts here. You gotta see him get on the board, but it's we don't want to see like these kind of results repeated. So Crusher has not really found any sort of success just yet. He had gotten his first win actually in week number 1, but other than that, he hasn't really had any points on the board yet. No conversions off of these medium punches. That's gonna be crucial, man. You're leaving damage on the table, but more importantly, you're losing your opportunities to corner Nauman. Jesus.
The opportunity's over for this round. They're going down now, man. Oh my God. With the quickness and finding some finesse and bless. They're about to put Crusher to rest. And again, Crusher now not converting. That shows me some signs of, hesitancy, a little bit of anxiousness. But back in the driver's seat, Crusher, contour the Street Fighter, and plants his alpha.
Oh, that was so sneaky. With a couple of lights, just kind of peppering in some of the damage against Nauman. Does get the stun. That's the Crusher we wanted to see, right? Forcing Nauman to play defense the way that he was doing earlier. Crusher was kind of enforcing the point with some of these crouching lights. Right? Crouching jab covers a lot of space, but also a little bit of a stutter step over to get that standing short was a lot to put Nauman into the corner. And now he gets slowly walking himself down. towards Nauman. And we see it, a little bit of cautiousness coming from Nauman, but still the big opener from Crusher. This is dangerous territory. Oh, finds it open. No, jump back jab, get out of there. Do it again.
Again. The classical special. Crusher doing some great aerial approach. The air to air is right there. He's got that EX bar at the bottom to threaten Nauman. He's activating trigger. Will do so off the sweep, the walk up throw to lock him down though. Don't get pressured in the corner. This is not where you want to be as Birdie. You got to get it confirmed out of there. Like dab the jab.
You can see how reluctant Nauman is to kind of throw out some of these Sand Blasters, even Thermal Barrack. Crusher's got to be holding on to some sort of button. What? No, that was actually unfortunate. He extended his hurt box still into the jumping medium punch. That was actually super rough. That was so weird. What a funky interaction. Oh. That was such a funky interaction, man.
You see Nauman's face just still staring at the screen like, what happened? And how did that crouching medium punch anti-air? I thought that was nerfed, but at that right range, was not strange to see it finally come through in the clutch. He backed up just enough to get that perfect anti-air and that really funky cross-up, able to seal it and steal it right there. Crusher, the coward Sia, is able to get his second win in the league. Actually, that's the first win, actually. My bad. Right, the first one. That's the first win
ever. Yeah. He did have a W in regards to like one of his games in the set, but he actually hasn't taken down a full set. Right? That's got to be a great sigh of relief for somebody like Crusher to feel really proud of. So you're taking down one of the Evo champs, man. You actually took down one of the strongest characters, too, with a character that hasn't really seen a lot of play. That's got to be, you know, a huge confidence booster for Team Ikuza, and as it should be. Again, Crusher with a very, very interesting sequence, right? That jumping medium punch still clipping Nauman. I hope they replayed that. I hope that highlight is there, because that is a very, very funky interaction, very, very rare interaction, I should be saying, because that's actually pretty cool. Up next, by the way, is going to be John Takeuchi, but not before we take a look at some of these stats. I think there's a lot to be said with like Aru and Hamiko. I feel like they're actually talking about this as well. It's like, yo, what had happened? Those couple of interactions. But yeah,
I hope they're also talking about that crouching medium punch, able to actually anti-air in that perfect range. Like, that was so well spaced from Crusher that you don't typically see that button. I mean, you can jump in on Birdie for dang near free, it feels like. They have to get predictive with it with the crouch fear, so they got to get predictive with, like, jump back jab, but he's able to get that crouching medium punch reminiscent of how it was previous seasons. And you see right here, in terms of the anti-airs, there was one anti on the side of Nauman, but a lot on the side of Crusher with the jump back jabs, the crouching medium punch that we saw before, and then not a lot of, you know, text on the side of Crusher. You want to hold all those throws, which is kind of makes sense, especially when you're caught up in the corner. Like, you're just going to hold all those throws and not get opened up off this character. But overall, just running it back to Crusher, his anti-air decisions and his air decisions also kept him in the game. The jump back jabs, crouching medium punch, just saying that over and over again, because it's so important to challenge on the ground space, but the aerial space, because we saw Nauman get fantastic jumping with the fierce, and he said, no more, not again. Never again.
Yeah, I think it's a solid play to force your opponent to stay in the corner if you can't anti-air it, especially with a crouching medium punch that doesn't cover the same kind of grounded as it did in previous seasons. I think jump back jab is going to be the way to go. So that was excellent. Really, really well played from Crusher, having that kind of game sense to figure out, all right, well, I don't want to lose this momentum, man. Like, if Luke gets his offense going, we've seen how fast the lights can be turned out, man. I gotta find a new place to sleep, because they're evicting me out of my home, man.
Let's see what happens here. Let's see if they're focusing on the next player. Inaba Bison, aka Dictator, coming up on the deck. It's strange because I thought we might see Dictator for the final fight against Irabashi Zangief, but this works here too as well. I think Bison does pretty well against Cody, you know, being able to use the blast to get through and stop the fireball approach with the V skill, absorb, and then be able to extend his combos. And I feel like this is still a good bet. This is still a good bet. Inaba, the tech guy when it comes to Bison. be able to stay solid. We'll see what happens though.
I think it's kind of tough to say. I think both of these characters have very slow-moving fireballs too, or at least one costs resources for Dictator, the other one doesn't really. But John Takeuchi, I think having one of the slower fireballs in the game, I don't think V-skill will be as much of a big deal against Bison, right? Throwing out that slow tornado and being able to walk past or like walk with it is going to be pretty significant for closing the gap as John Takeuchi. So even other than that, I think one of the things to note, I feel like, in regards to this matchup in particular, is what Bison's going to do on defense. I want to talk about defense. Reassess that actually. Thinking about it now, Bison has so many great angles to keep Cody locked down because Cody doesn't have like any sort of like breakthrough moment, right? He doesn't have any sort of like great defensive options either. So it's tough one to call. I don't know who actually has the advantage here because of the considerable changes that Cody has. But I think the fireball game is not going to be as effective or as much of a talking point as Cody.
You see it like at some levels where you'll throw out the fireball just to catch Bison unawares with the ruffian right after. But you're right, I think in the narrative, the neutral overall is probably going to be like Zong, medium kick kind of walking Bison down with a better walk speed. I've seen some of the Cody players kind of venture over to the pipe to get the job done for the command grabs, things like that with the mixes, because Bison does fall to more of the grappler type of players or characters, I should say. So that could be a pain point in breaking through the defense of Bison. However, Inaba has always had some defense on the deck in terms of like what he does. He always has like some tech and things like that, and the way he plays. And I feel like you have to be very careful overall back to Cody, like using that V skill too and things like that, or even the V skill. The low V skill as well. That's an easy punish for Bison. This is going to be a really weird matchup. I've seen it go both ways. I've seen it where Bison just clears Cody and the reverse too as well. What I have to see is Inaba says he'll do his best to beat John.
Yeah, I think we've talked about how this has gone back and forth a good majority of the time. I think it's safe to say, like, just based on some of the results we've seen, it could go either way. But as it stands right now, let's take a look at the numbers and the details, especially coming from Inaba. From his get-go, from his start into the league, he actually scored himself the big anchor W over in week 1 where he faced off against Moke, got it 3-2. Looking even further into week number 2, he didn't get to play that one, but week number 3, let's take a look as well. Inaba got his W against Shuto, the man with a plan, the #1 Urian. 2-0. So I think overall that's a lot to be said. John Takeuchi, what are his stats like?
Looks like John Takeuchi has won against Fudo for the anchor match. This is his first match, and that was against Poison, so he did really well. But he lost to Dogura's Bison. That was on episode 3, day 2, just previously. That just previously happened. So we look at he's already had some practice against a Bison that. I think one that's, I don't want to say psychic, but this has a better read on when to use normals. But when it comes to the tech, Inaba is that kind of guy, so he's going to be a different style. He's going to have to switch things up. So, losing to Dogura's Bison probably put a flame of fire in him. And even though Inaba's something different with it, I think he's like probably more studied and studious. Like right after that match, he probably went to the lab, CFN, and said, I did this, and this wrong. I need to switch it up and do something differently. Especially you don't want to lose to a Bison once again.
Yeah. And I think John Takeuchi is definitely one of those cats, right? He's definitely gone to the lab and has prepared for himself for at least some of these matchups. We've even seen him take down one of the greats, right? He's taken down Takudo in week number 1 at 3-0 against the Urian. But in regards to the context of the matchup, right, I think it's very important to highlight the fact that he fell also to Dogura 0-3. So I'm kind of curious to see if Inaba can kind of emulate those same kind of results with his Dictator. But that's a tall order too. I mean, like the way that Dogura's mind works, he does play for like the long con. I think the way it was, like he kind of outpaced John Takeuchi, and then in the final moments, he just pretty much floored it all the way to the finish line, right? That was the most aggressive we've seen Dogura play thus far. So I think there's a lot to be said in regards to what John Takeuchi is used to for the pacing of the match. We'll see if that ever comes into play. We'll see if Inaba has taken that note of actually taking his time in the match.
I actually like that you point out that Inaba needs to be looking at that too as well. I think Inaba needs to look at how Cody's so aggressive that character's always building a bar. So if you get aggressive, you're stopping that from going to flow. You're stopping the possibility of EXALT from coming out a lot more. And the standing fierce was part of like that interrupter we saw consistently. Maybe not always finding confirms, but at least like putting out a stop sign in that mid-range against like medium punch, medium kick, and things like that, where John Takeuchi could get going. And John Takeuchi's one of his favorite buttons is honestly standing medium kick. It's a very blessed button. It's part of a balanced diet right there of a lot of Cody players to start and find the openers and harass in the neutral and build up, you know, EX bar, build up great life and things like that. And using that stand fierce to check that before it could come in was, I think, what made John Takeuchi off his game a little bit too as well. So I hope Inaba took down some notes and said, this might be the button at play, but don't get too relaxed with it because you know that John Takeuchi looked at the tapes and might find something better.
Here we go. We're going to see how it plays out between Inaba, representing Hiroshima Team Ikuza, versus John Takeuchi from Kamufa Detonation. It's going to be the Bison versus the Cody. Really excited to see it. This is going to be set number 2 between these two teams. Who's going to score the next big dub?
It's Detonation. All right. Let's see if Cody has learned, or John Takeuchi has learned anything in Inaba. If he's taking some notes from Dogura previously. And combo up to that medium.
That's a great counterpoke tool. Touch medium punch. From John Takeuchi now off to a fantastic start. An important attack too. Delivers reversal. Damn! What? Not hitting the front and ended up in the back?
What? Where did that even end? Standing heavy kick, get the side switch, puts him in the corner. He's got the threat of the EX Fireball too as well. That fierce, I see him. Oh, but the neutral jump coming through against a scissor kick. He's got a ton of damage. So walk up, throw John Takeuchi getting aggressive now. EX bar to put it right inside the corner. It's a one touch.
Oh. Pretty important again. Not really focused on keeping that meter for long. Oh, that's a punish. I don't know what that could have been, but I think Inaba was expecting to maybe, you know, throw out a normal and catch something. I don't know. Like that was definitely not within the space of doing a buffer, but I'd imagine that's what he was trying to do just now.
See, John Takeuchi's looking for that standing fierce, right? We saw that medium punch, whip punish it at a distance, and then EX Zong a little bit different in his timings to catch it. Use the target combo on the mark, jump heavy kick, crouch fierce, flip out though from Inaba, or sorry, John Takeuchi. I'm with a lot of bar.
Oh. Oh, that's too far. He tried to get the final fight combo. Inaba wasn't actually ready to whip punish though. Oh, we got the pipe. We do have the pipe, by the way, getting access to that command grab. But more importantly, it's the rock that we should be afraid of. There it is. The rock says. Okay. Just allowing him to move a little bit more forward.
That was good. You check that aerial space so he can't just EX double reverse in. Back throw though. He still got V-bar to work with. Jump fierce. Oh, that extra range on that jump fierce. Anti-air from Inaba. Trying to get the slide applied. John Takeuchi with the fadeaway. Knowing that he wants that slide into the Cycle Crusher. Oh, there it is. Oh, what a block.
I gotta say, that was pretty impressive defense from John Takeuchi up until that point, but Inaba again getting away with it. Plus frames from the scissor kick. EX scissor kick, that is.
Inaba at this distance, threatening a lot of buttons right here. Crouch mini kick gets the hit. The EX hard knockdown, gotta hold this. The lacking defense on Cody. No 3-frame, no DP to your name. Only the super if he tries to spin it, but that's not a good thing to spin the bar on. He's saving that for EX Zong. Oh, what a sway.
I love that sway in anticipation for the scissor kick. It's one of two things to avoid that, right? Either the sway or the neutral jump. John Takeuchi hasn't found success with the neutral jump just yet. But with sway, it's a little bit riskier. It's being able to find it that way, it's got to be a pretty good feeling. Universal
activation this way once again. Oh,
he knew. He actually sniffed it out. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna spend it, or at least I'm gonna get this V-Skill going, and I'm gonna punish him.
Damage on a backdash, the last. Blast. One more hit. EX down for Fierce. And the walk-up throw at the fingertips to do it. Some of the best throw range in the business is Bison Inaba, showcasing it here.
Yeah, I think it was more so the walk speed in that regard. Like, that was really tough to manage. Like, Inaba being able to utilize such a slow walk speed to throw his opponents off guard. But I will say, it was a lot further than most. I feel like that was actually a like max range forward throw, but it's all about that back throw, right? Still within that reach, like even further out. Back throw from Bison is one of the furthest reaching throws. There is a difference between back throw and forward throw for this character, so that still puts John Takeuchi in a really rough spot no matter what. Like, even with the walk speed like from Bison, it could have been like a normal as well from Inaba, just mistiming it, so he didn't want to risk it. It was a guess for game scenario either way.
I want to see more of the V-trigger too. I mean, we're not seeing much of the pipe come through in terms of the gameplay from John Takeuchi. He claims the space with the rock, but Inaba's fine to just back off a bit, wait for it to drop, and then continues pressure. He's got the Cycle Crusher to get in with the quickness too as well. Like, with that Cycle Crusher, you don't have to risk a dash and scissor kick and things like that. You know, it actually makes it harder to read what you want to do when you're trying to come through, like, instead of just being predictive with something that's a little bit slower with his dashes and stuff like that, or spin EX bar, have a Cycle Crusher to come through, and now Inaba on game point against John Takeuchi.
Oh, big crouching medium punch, pretty much for the space of Inaba. Yeah, I love that option. That's what I was waiting for. He had actually been practicing that exact sequence a couple of times over. V-skill 2 to get past any of the long-range normals, specifically Cycle X. That was so good.
It's Inaba though, that's such like the air-to-air, but unfortunately, it's put in the corner, has to spin the V-bar for the V-reversal to find a way out. EX, the swag will save you. Dash it, but there's a throw. As soon as he saw the purple stuff, hits the grip and switches positions.
Oh yeah, big counter hit conversion as well off of the stand jab. Great conversion there from Inaba, looking at match point from against John Takeuchi, I should say.
So hard to read what Inaba wants to do. He hides that Fierce so well in between other things. The medium punch to catch John Takeuchi, but there's a Fierce once again. This time getting a punish.
It's looking like Bison is John Takeuchi's demon right now. The way that Inaba's just been controlling it thus far. Oh god, I thought that was a reversal. Rock says, oh, command grab, his back is broken. Ugh, let it rip. Oh my god, wait, what happened?
All according to plan. As the hits land, that was enough to do it with the fadeaway. Cleaned it up with the rock being plus enough to lock him down. John Takeuchi sticking around for a little bit longer.
Down, him up. The amount of chip damage and great health as well. Ooh, being able to get the juggle off of the EX Fireball. And here we go. Yeah, he's looking for movement. He's definitely trying to check for movement, at least for buttons, I should say, not movement.
John Takeuchi's got to use more of the EX arc, and then also like that Fierce right there of the character extended range on the pipe. EX to get in, crouch Fierce, no. Inaba put him back in the corner. Jail, no bail, but the B skill and the light ruffian. Crouch Fierce with the float and the command grab. Is this gonna be a comeback like that? Sets up shop, delay rise, B shift into the Fierce, and Inferno cooking up John Takeuchi is Inaba.
That was actually super impressive from the side of Inaba, right? There's been so much fundamentally sound decision making throughout the entire board, and also making that big call against the command grab. John Takeuchi had actually risked it all, and of course Inaba having the right read to get the big finisher. Super important. Inaba again getting a W for his team. He's been super consistent. Again, for his debut into the league, that's got to be feeling pretty good. Man, taking out some of the big hitters for the young men too in the squad. He's taken out Moke before, even further on into the league. He's just been doing such a
やっぱりベガかなり
right?
良さそうでしたね。あとはその
Putting another 10 points on the board for his team. We're going to be moving on to the next match as well in a little bit. Itabashi is going to be the anchor, but as John Takeuchi, I will say there is a significant detail here, and that is he is not thoroughly ready for the Bison matchup just yet. Just yet. He's fallen 0-5 thus far to the Bisons.
Yeah, I feel like some of that comes from how great the Inaba play or Inaba's play in terms of defense. Like you said, you want to see that defense. We saw that V shift. You've gotta, OS that a little bit to watch out for the V shifts if you're gonna run this V trigger. But this is why people have kind of gone away from the V trigger, because of the V shift, because of being able to escape these options that you wouldn't typically be able to do so. You see the anti-airs right here from the side of Inaba, just checking that aerial space continuously with the crouch fierce, not always able to work. I'd also like to see John Takeuchi get in that space where you can cross up Bison, and he's got to get predictive with it and really make a big bet. However, Inaba would back up just enough to not let that happen. And he hit his fierces overall. As soon as they got checked once, he made it so it wasn't whip punishable over and over again by hiding other buttons. That was just great defensive play from Inaba, and then putting on the pressure when need be. John Takeuchi definitely needs to study more of that V-trigger too, to really make it a bigger threat. Even with B-Ship being what it is, there's still ways to work around it. Just have to make some big bets.
So as it says right now, that's 20 points from the side of Hiroshima team Ikusa. You are in the potential to get a big 40 bomb against your team, or against the opposition, I should say, but it also opens you up to a potential 25 points, which is a pretty big deal as well. Again, I think, going into that sudden death is not the best feeling, right? 20 points or 25 points, like it's okay. It's just okay, but you would much rather have 30 or 40. Obviously, ideally you want 40, but 30 points is a significant deal. Storm Kubo's going in next. Damn, he didn't put on like the mixer with the special effects. I like that.
That's super sick. And Storm Kubo super sick with it. A concept of the Abigail play, so in a way, this is still a good pick to go up against someone like Itabashi Zangief, who's going up with the Abigail first. So it's going to be Abigail versus... Abigail versus Abigail, Storm Kubo versus Ida. He's going for the mirror match? Wow. This is going to be hectic.
This is more for pride. Clearly, right? Between Storm Kubo and Itabashi, right? These guys are pretty good friends, I'd imagine. So, I'm kind of curious to see what Itabashi has to say in response to this decision coming in from the captain of Ikusa.
We'll take it back. But hey, we're going to see the mirror match play out. I mean, it's not like Storm Kubo doesn't have other characters, but he definitely popularized Abigail along with Itabashi. Itabashi says, Abigail, I've been practicing. He's actually been practicing the mirror match. That's strange to see someone actually practice. It's so different than practicing other matchups. But he's actually been practicing the mirror match and preparing for this moment.
Yeah, I think the context of it is the fact that Itabashi been running G, he's running hookshot against some of these players for like week in, week out. It's been pretty consistent too. Like from last week's results, he faced off against Good 8 Squad. He took down Gachaku with a G 2 games straight, by the way. Pretty impressive. And then Itabashi coming in against Daigo. He did fall a little bit short 1-2 in week number 2. And then also finding a little bit of a turbulence flying against Bonchan Airline with that loop play. So Itabashi again, I think the context of it is like he's been exercising some of this G week in, week out. But specifically for this week, he had gone back to the Abigail to get some of his practice. And of course, Storm Kubo is trying to return the favor, right? He would like to show a strong Abigail to the man with the plan again. Itabashi Zangief is the grappler. Storm Kubo is looking to show him who actually is the better Abigail.
I have to see who's going to take it. This mirror match will be something different with it. You have the same tools as the other cat. Your optimal distance as the same as the other player, and it's going to be very hectic. But again, you just pointed out, they play each other so much, they probably share tech over the years. They have, you know, have probably been in the discords and chats and things like that. So it's going to be not just like a few levels, it's going to be flights ahead in terms of understanding the players. So you might see some wacky stuff. Either way, it's going to be hecka wacky anyway. You have two big characters slugging it out, just swinging, and I'm wondering to see if there's going to be like V-Skill 1 or V-Skill 2, because we've seen the V-Skill 2 get buffed, but V-Skill 1 still seems like it's the stronger option in a lot of matchups, but I'm not sure about the mirror match, though. We'll see how it goes. Abigail versus Abigail.
Yeah, I really want to know what the V-set is going to be like. We had shown it off just a little bit earlier, and I might have missed it, but here we go. The big Canadian truck. I've never seen it. All right, V-Trigger 2 is going to be what's called in. V-Skill 1 from both sides. It's going to be a pretty big slugfest, as it is being shown right now.
Ooh. What a drop of the Abigail punch. So cool, able to pick it up. He's in the red. He is on in the blue, representing the colors of the team. That's anti with the light.
Yeah, we're going back to kind of like trying to figure out the space in between the two. There's a lot of Abigail on the screen, I gotta say. They're taking up so much space here on the stage.
Trying to find an opening. Yeah, it's so hard to anti, even more this season.
Yeah, absolutely, right. Like the jump roundhouse pretty much eliminates a good majority of that jump arc. Oh boy. Ooh. Wait a minute.
Ooh. He's able to find an opening. The charge up roll. Oh, but he'll fall. That jump over. He knew what to do. He played the character. Typically see people jump back or dual jump, but you don't do that. You get the jump over, get the punish right there, the first one to Itazan.
There's something to be said about the decision making with the jump roundhouses, right? He's definitely gone to that strategy multiple times over. Look at the corner carry, dude. That actually was super sick. Yo, he flicks. So when he grabs Abigail for that, he flicks Abigail's Adam's apple, dude.
Right below the face. Itazan. Keep caught up in the corner and building up that super. He's one to block because he's going to get that EX bar to make Storm Kubo drop if he gets that super. Don't be minus, my friend. It might be the end. Flip out into the Abigail punch. You already know what's about to happen. Going super high. Look at super fly. It's Itazan. Pow!
You're gonna have to find yourself an actual speed belt with that one. That was actually a clinic from the side of Itabashi Zangief. I gotta say, technically Itabashi Abigail. Let me be correct on that one. Storm Kubo, I'd imagine. I don't think he would exercise any other character right now because we've seen his Dan before. But I don't like Dan in this matchup, man. We might see a character select, but he's going to be chilling for a little bit. I highly advise against Dan specifically for this matchup. Not a fun time.
I 100% agree. No, you cannot outrange this character. He does way too much damage. He'll check the Dan kicks from coming in. He does have an Alex, but is it ready enough to fight someone like Itabashi Zangief? What we saw last week was, I don't want to say rust, but just like something that may not just be there, may not be prepared to be in the league just yet. Maybe he's found a little bit of practice to get it ready and steady out here. I think Alex can do okay against Abigail overall. Get the EX elbow to get through some of these normals. And the command grabs have a lot more range than what Abigail wants to do. What he can do, I should say. But again, someone like Itazan might be ready for that matchup overall. Unless you got a top level one, no, he's going back to it.
Well, I'm glad. I think, this is going to be a great decision either way. I think there's a lot to be said in regards to how Itabashi is navigating this mirror match. There's still plenty of time to digest and analyze what to do.
Just pokes right here from Itazan on the lights and things like that. You jump fierce as well. He's playing this real patiently, and it's cracking Storm Kubo every so often. You see that same sort of defense on Storm Kubo's side.
We're seeing an entirely different approach, I feel like, from Storm Kubo. Still try to outspace Itazan for the most part and not give up too much of his own as well, where he finds himself in the corner. But to be fair, I think Itazan has not really taken to these guys as much. And as soon as I say that, yeah, big trade-off. I think that was in benefit for Itazan in regards to the damage output. I'm good punish from the crouching heavy punch, but too far to really confirm into anything.
Yeah, he knew it too. Didn't try to overextend. Last time we saw him overextend and got punished for his troubles. This time playing patiently and dang near perfectly, pushing Itazan to the corner. Even though he is bleeding a little bit more than Itazan, he is getting that positional advantage, which is very important. Big jumping, call out the fierce activation, call up with the super. This won't kill, but it will put him on damn near guesser game, if not guesser game with the Oki.
Oh my God, it's so close. Yeah, flicking him right in the Adam's apple too. And he's looking to make sure his manicure is still intact.
Painful, that's gonna be very painful right there. So is that anti-air. EX, that's gonna be a punch to the back, fist check my wrist. You get some Oki off of that and the corner carry. Storm Kubo starting to turn up a little bit.
Yes, so yeah, Storm Kubo is now cut on to all the jumps that Itabashi can do. No problem at all. Storm Kubo making the reassessment happen and actually finding success with it. Yeah, I love that energy. Yeah, 2 rounds straight against Itabashi, covering some of the options that he was showing off earlier. Those jumps aren't going to be as effective, but now it's Itabashi's turn to have some of the possible like counterplay strategies against Storm Kubo.
Going back into it though. Gotta stop the jumps. Even though it's predicted to get that crouch fierce, he's at the right range to be able to clip him and perfectly call out when he needs to do Abigail punch or not. So Storm Kubo not dropping it nearly as much. That was a better start. Never mind. Heavy kick is fine. The jump and get the knockdown. The damage. Oh,
that was actually
Mickey with the crouch fierce. Oh.
Oh, you went for a parry, a V-skill parry down below. Storm Kubo wasn't having it. Both players just riffing. They're so cautious of what's going to happen in neutral.
Using the EX bar to make sure the anti-air is done for the activation. He's so smart for the corner carry. He wasn't able to get the Metro Crash, followed right after the crouching light to catch a walk back. And just like that, it's my turn to party. Put him in the corner. No, it's over. Itazan.
It's looking pretty dead even thus far. For the most part, I gotta say, like, you know, they've been trying to figure each other out in regards to what they're gonna utilize. Again, it's the same character mirror match, right? So, oh boy. I love that response to the neutral jump. That crouching heavy punch is being right within range. And speaking of, yeah, Itabashi fires right back, checking Storm Kubo, having him, you know, rethink some of these jumps.
There's the jump in on the fierce situation. The walk-up throw right in the Adam's apple. Heavy kick into the super. Itazan with the confirms. Will confirm himself some Oki. Confirm himself for a guesser game. Bar at the bottom for Storm Kubo. He's going to wake up with a super no. Holds it the tech. With the V-bar at the bottom, needs to find a way to get the V-trigger to connect. Anything prevent this from happening, that one touch.
Oh boy, you're gonna just infiltrate his space like that. Oh, you try to get a command grab, jump short from Itazan. Man, that looks awfully familiar. I just had like PTSD of just a kid doing that to Stupendous for some reason. But I will say, again, Itazan making it work, having the character specifics, utilizing something like that against a tall character is always going to be on the table. It's going to be something you need to consider, but Storm Kubo, for the most part, tried to sneak one in there. He tried to get an EX command grab, but it's been pretty back and forth thus far. Itabashi does have the advantage with the game.
It does look like he is getting closer and closer to starting to figure out the second part of these rounds going down. The V-trigger activation, staying solid, and getting enough lead for the bar to put, you know, Storm Kubo on the back foot. We see the super, and then he's like 1 or 2 touches to seal it, and then he's already operating on how to deal with V-trigger. He already knows how to deal with V-trigger, so he's starting to coalesce the game plan. that's hard to fight against. Storm Kubo is like whipping crouch fears here and there and things like that, and catching unawares and not getting all those hits that we saw previously. That dominance is off the table now. It's game point for Itazan, saying you better pick a different character, bro. But I don't want to see that though. I definitely want to see more of this Abigail versus Abigail play, because this is the way for Storm Kubo, and he's riding with it.
We'll see how this plays out again. I think I think you're absolutely right. I think, you know, having Storm Kubo stick to this character is critical. The jumping game.
I think it's like a dive kick, like a missile.
Essentially, yeah. That's what you're treating it like.
Whoa.
It's so tough. It's so tough right now. Again, it's both players just swinging. Crouching jab to kind of test out the range a little bit. You see Itazan is like now deliberately kind of getting these jump-ins without swinging to see if Storm Kubo is going to commit to a normal so he can whip punish it. And speaking of whip punish, he's going to get the first one. Oh, a big interruption from against Itazan. I think that was a command grab from the side of Itazan. Just a slightly missed time. Storm Kubo now gets the upper hand.
One more hit to land if he can find the finish. Sunsel has V-Bar to make the comeback like that with punish, with the crouch fierce follow with the EX. Will charge it up. V-Ship, that's a punish. He'll go for the throw. Storm Kubo says he knows about this character too as well.
Oh, tie it all up here. Yes, that's the answer. One of the answers. Contrary to what Kanye West had said about Sway, Storm Kubo has the answers.
Storm Kubo has a cop in the corner, but it's something like Itazan is just still playing as patiently as he needs to. Oh, never mind. He's not fine. The anti-air at that max range for the crouch fierce. EX connects, uses the armor, slather, and lather to get outside that situation. Jump, heavy kick again. Not lacking to Storm Kubo.
Oh, that is a giant jump in for Storm Kubo now. I think it's going to be a pretty big deal. Yeah, gonna get the corner carry as well with the trigger activation. It is on now. Oh, that's going to be a big problem. You're actually dead. Storm Kubo. I don't know what had happened. I think that was just like a slightly mistimed. It wasn't even his fault, to be honest with you. I think he had the right idea. It's just his character model was just still on the other side.
Unfortunate. The smile returns to Itazan's face as he is on set point for his team to possibly give us a first attempt. Storm Kubo trying to stop that from happening. We'll leave more points on the board as much as possible.
See? Yeah, right now for Team Ikuza, what's on the board, or sorry, what's at risk right now is potentially getting a big 40-point game for his team, which would shoot them up pretty significantly in the leaderboards. Oh boy. That's going to be a great start. And I say start even though there's 65 seconds left on the clock. I feel like this is going to be a great starter for the momentum. Dash up. What happens afterwards? Ugh. The big whip punish against the crouch medium punch. Itazan still on it.
So ready with it. Blocking it out. Not going for the V-Ship. He wants to save that bar from the V-Trigger to make his own sort of comeback. But nice off in the corner. The lights harassing. Crouch fierce again. The bumper situation. The super. This is a ton of damage. And Itazan shocked at this kill. Itazan taking over Storm Kubo and forcing us into a first to death situation. Oh my God.
And it looked like there was going to be signs of life coming in from Storm Kubo, but at the end of the day, it wasn't going to be enough. It sets us up for that sudden death match, as you just mentioned, right? Abigail being just enough for Itabashi. And I do got to say, it feels good to see him pilot a grappler again. So we'll see. We're going to take a little bit of a timeout for the team to assess who's going to come up on deck for these players. But as it stands right now, for Team Capcom Fighters Detonation.
やらなきゃいけないっていうところを
Inabashi is the only one that has scored a W,
いち早くやった
right?
そういう
They
組
have
み合わ
not
せでしたね
shown off the roads just yet from Udio.
そうね
I'm gonna say it would be really nice to kind of just throw him in there right now. I think it'd be a great trump card
板橋アビゲル途
to
中で
get
や
a
ったんで
W
ちゃんと踏み込んで
using
しゃがみ込まんち打ったんですね
that
ま
play
さにのそ
with
の久保
Udio.
のその対空判断というかいうところも見事だった
I
んですけども
agree. I think that would be. It's
さあ
50-50
それ
for
では
me.
スタ
It's
ッツ
like
見ていき
put
ま
it
しょう
real. Shock them with the rose
この
pick.
ようになりま
To
し
see if they're
た
ready for it. But then again, Ida-san with Abigail in the first and one is kind of a dangerous cat like that. Don't matter who goes up to
出
him.
ますね
Like he's already warmed up.
落とされてはいるんですけど
That's hard. That's a difficult thing to see what's going to happen here. You see on the side right here. A lot of anti-airs actually on the side of Storm Kubo. He was checking with the approach more than Ida-san. But when it came to getting the job done, it was Ida-san staying a lot more solid and a lot more damaging in situations.
20対20つまり
I'm glad you mentioned that too. It is first and one. That's a very critical detail that I might have
ということ
overlooked.
で
But yeah.
20ポイント同士となりましたので
First to
BO1
one,
男
Abigail
の一先
is
延長戦に
extremely
入ってまいりま
dangerous.
す
So let's
両
entertain
チー
that
ムは
idea.
延長
Right?
戦に
Let's
挑む選手の
say
申告を
put
お
Ida
願い
on
いたし
for
ます
the extra battle as
4
Abigail.
人
Who
の
are you
選
setting
手
up to
ど
counter?
の選手が出ても大丈夫ですまずはアウェ
I'm
ー
sitting
側
up.
リーダー板橋ザンギエフ選手
Ah, man, I
延
think
長戦
either
を
Birdie or
戦う
Inaba.
選手のお名前と
I feel like either Bison would do really good in the first one, and Birdie would especially do better in the first one too as well. Especially against this kind of character where you can find the whip punches that we saw from Crusher.
あ、そうか、キャラクターも
One of those two.
はい
アビゲルで活かしていただきたいと思います
I think that's a good idea. I think it's a good idea to put in Birdie. I think there's going to be a lot more consistency trying to use crouching medium punches and anti-air against someone like Inabashi, who's been very adamant about showing off that jump roundhouse.
続いてホー
But
ム
I
は
will say, like,
リーダー
although that strategy was effective against Storm Kubo, I think it's specifically against the tall characters. I don't know if it's going to be the kind of same deal with someone like Birdie, who may not be as tall. Like, I don't know, like the big differences in regards to like, the hurt blocks from their neutral
ありがとうござい
or
ます
from
そ
like
れ
the
では延長
neutral
戦
position.
の選手は
But I
稲葉
will.
選手使用キャ
I
ラクター
think
は
it's a good idea. It's either Inaba or oh boy, it actually might just be
使
Inaba,
用キャラクターは
right?
ベガということでありがとうございます
Ooh, Inaba's going
それでは
but we do see
こちら
Inabashi going up, so
延
that
長
is
戦
the
を
idea.
戦う両
Inabashi
選手
already
にお
hot,
話を
and again,
伺
the
っていきたい
first
と
and
思い
one,
ますまずは
Abigail
アウェ
can
ー側
rob anybody with that big boy damage, and already heated up from
男
his
の
previous
一
match like
先
that.
延長
He
戦
is
相手は
going
稲
more
葉
to
ベ
prepare.
ガ
But
ですがいか
Inaba,
がです
like,
か
maybe going to the Inaba
はい
game plan, I think what they see is
ここの
if I pressure this character, he won't be able to play at all. All he has to worry about are the parries. That's the only thing that's really scary. Because you put the pressure on, you can't really find a reversal. And Inaba is such a tech god, so we'll see what Inabashi saying to this choice, this decision, to see Inaba's Bison come up on the deck.
全てを知ってるってやつですよね
なるほど
問題ないです
We're getting a
リ
couple
オ
of
は
words
任せてく
from
ださい勝ちます
ありがとうございます
Inabashi. He was talking about the best of one. Hopefully he can take it down. I'd
意気
imagine
込
is
み
what he's trying to
お願
say.
いします相手は自信満々ですが
We're gonna see how it plays out. Again, we talked about this a little bit. The actual translation from Inabashi was that he was expecting this to happen, so he has prepped himself well. He knows the ins and outs of Inaba. That's actually kind of wild. It makes me think, like, is Abigail still going to be on the table then for Inabashi, or does he have another character in mind specifically for this matchup?
さあということで延長戦は
See,
稲
oh,
葉ベガ
it's going to be Abigail up on the deck. It's wild that he has focused on the possibility of a first to one. I didn't even think about that being this, as a team tournament, as a new rule that these players will be prepared for this to happen. If this is going to go down like this, we have to be prepared for the first one. Not be caught unawares. Inaba though says he'd like to win with Bison. He's doing this for his team. He wants to get more points. He wants to seal it and take the win, the W today. The 25 points in play overall, and not let the other team get as many as possible and walk away with a W. Inaba wants to do this with Bison, but going back to how they're so ready for it, first one, so prepared for these decisions, these options. I love that. Inabashi himself is saying that, saying like, if this happens, I'm coming up and I will rock this first one with Abigail.
そのあたりの自信がコメントより伺えましたね。
どうなってもおかしくないですからね。本当に
The Dictator, aka Bison, aka Vega pick.
まあ今はね2試合選手、3試合選手が多い中で、やっ
Going up
ぱ
against
りボ
Inabashi's
タンを1回
Abigail.
押す責任というものが
talking about the match at hand.
昔のプレイ
You
ヤーはね
mentioned it earlier. I think
言ったりし
Vega.
ますが、王子たち
I
は
want to say like in regards to like Vega's. Sorry, Vega. I keep saying
回
Vega
のボ
because
タ
I
ン
see it
を
on the
押
screen.
すことに
And
よっ
we're
て
and we're talking about Japan.
責任の重さは違うんです
Bison's
選
offense
手のコマンド投げはやっぱりね、響き
is
ますよね。
somewhat of a problem for a lot of the
でも
grapplers,
延
at
長戦
least
だと無敵技なん
being
か
so
ね、こう
plus
飛び
too.
交う展開になったりしてるんで。
But one of the things I do want to see is
そういう意味では
what
勝負どころ
Itabashi is going to do to kind of get past
はい
events that'll even lead to those
逆に
scenarios.
一
Right?
先だ
Like,
か
we
ら
talk
こそ
about
出
the
す
ground game
駒
a
投げっ
lot.
ていうの多分
I
ある
think
と思うんです
Bison
よ
does a fantastic job
一先
kind
で
of
しか
covering
見ら
that.
れない
I want to know if
視野
Itabashi is going to take it to the
まあ
skies
そう
or
です
at
ね
least
そう
be a
ですね
little bit
暴れ
more
の部分
airborne like he was in the previous game.
そういうなんでしょう、非常に危険な
Yeah, I want to see that. You know, that jump heavy kick being such like a downward angle. Actually, I mean, it makes it hard for to be like a nasty cross up in like a position where it's hard to crouch fierce anti-air. However, it's so quick. It's so hard to deal with, and we've seen jump fierce also come through from Itabashi. That also is a stopping point if you try to keep doing scissor kick. That's jump fierce into light punch into damage is done right there. So there's many ways to play in terms of neutral using the jump and things like that to kind of switch up what you do. A little bit different than what you would typically see for the cross-ups. If he does want to go for the cross-up, it's a shallow jump. But that's a cross-up that has a lot of damage that acts a lot of what you know, Abigail wants to do, like with back fist for the Oki. So in a first to one also, how the matchup changes and progresses is so different than a first to two or first to three. You don't have time to read the opponent. You just have to be quick with it. So some of these options might be a little bit more ridiculous than we are typically used to seeing and a little bit less safe.
余裕でありましたからね
What's wild about that is we haven't really seen the command grab exercises from the side of Itabashi, who is excellent at catching people off guard with that. So not having to worry about, you know, having to do 360s, he just has access to the command grab even easier. So I want to know how often he's going to go for that option of trying to trick somebody, or at least kind of give Inaba that false sense of security that he's not going to do it and actually like pull out the surprise. 'Cause, again, we haven't seen it exercise a lot, so that's all I'm really looking forward to, is seeing how often Itabashi is going to get these command grabs. We'll see if that's even the case.
見守っていきましょう
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's one of his ways for Oki now that everything's been kind of deleted. Split off the table in terms of Oki for the character. Unless it's back, heavy punch, or if you use the EX bar for the command grab. Your only real way is to continue pressure. Otherwise, you can just walk back like that. But then again, this is a slower character. Let's see what happens. Itabashi Zangief going up against Inaba for the final match of the night. The first to death, the first to one. See who's going to get it done.
Really excited to see it. Let's see who has the more degenerate strategies, as you're going to need it in a first to one. I think honestly this is the most exciting time. Anytime it comes to sudden death. It may not be the most points for either of these teams, but it is pretty dang exciting. Inaba already causing first blood against Itabashi.
Backing up just a bit. Not even trying to risk a crouch fierce for an anti-air. Scissor kick, but the command grab with the side switch right there. Itabashi trying to continue that pressure. The scissor kick once again. A little bit of damage.
Look at this. We talked about the offense that Inaba presents. Okay, I was going to say, Itabashi he's threading the needle with some of these lighter normals to deter Inaba. But again, he's trying to risk. Man, that scissor kick hit max distance. Pretty amazing.
That's a tip. Oh, medium. We get the counter for the back fierce. No problem though. Itabashi throwing all the normals on the screen. But now we get the counter hit, knockdown with the Inferno. The throw, to the corner you go.
He's not even going to pursue that. That is a giant jump in for Itabashi. Not quite there for critical art. Yeah, you're going to cover it? No, sir. It's going to be fine. You get to back yourself over the trigger and make it safe.
EX1 off punish, able to cancel right there. Saves it from the wake up throw. 81's game, blocks a jumping V reversal though. You know, trying to get some space up in this place. One touch, that light could be good night. Nita's on. Try to close this.
Ooh. Oh, what a time to V reversal. Itabashi is going to look to play time. No, sir. Inaba actually tried to dash in. Itabashi lets out a half sigh, half cry, half laugh, or like, sorry, not half laugh, but I was going to say, like, it looked like kind of a laugh as well. So I was going to say that's a lot of tension and relief. Look at that. Now he gets to cash out on this critical art. He's got to be feeling himself.
Cash out, cash in. Let's begin for that Oki. Goes for the meaty flip. But now Inaba's caught in the corner, flip once again. Jump fierce, look at all this pressure that Gray like adding up. The crush, where you going? I'm not done talking to you. Abby punch, one more good conversion, should seal it, and that'll do it. Itazan with the perfect KO in the BM to get the win. Itazan.
Abigail wins.
Man.
Man.
I didn't think it was going to be in that fashion. I didn't think it was going to be a perfect. That was so slow and steady from the side of Itabashi in that first round, and you know, he talked about it, man. Best of one Itabashi. That is a bad man. That is a dangerous player, man, if you ask us.
100%. Itabashi already warmed up from that first three that we saw before previously, you know, being able to really showcase who is the strongest Abigail, and now not only that, taking down Inaba and taking all the points at 25 on the board after that first one. My God, that's got to be stressful though for both players. But Itabashi is the one that feels like he was more ready, prepared for these first one situations. Like really went up far, saving it for that the last round, hitting the super, and then continuing that opening, that pressure up in the corner. Great stuff by Itabashi.
Well, as it stands right now, with the 25-point W for Combo Fun Detonation, I believe that puts them at 65 points, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty much tying it up with Gyogun as well. Gyogun had actually, from the previous matchup earlier, like, you know, they only had 10 points. So. Pretty significant for Detonation, but Team Ixza still not too bad, I guess. You know, 20 points on the board, not bad for losing. Good deal.
Not too terrible. Definitely want a lot more, but it's good they fought back like that, you know, taking it down to the wire. It's always good to see that best of one. Maybe not for the players. I'm sure their heartbeats are going ridiculous. They're going insane with it, but always a great spectacle right here. Now, says this is personally, he has a lot of regrets. So Itabashi, he's happy that Itabashi did so well, pushing that anchor and that best one position. So now I'm very happy about the fact that his team was able to route it back from the brink.
でもね、ジョンさんもね、大将何度もこうね、見守ってますから。
John Takeuchi, man. Again,
ありがとうございます。そして、宇良選手いかがでしたか？ is one thing, and not being able to deliver is another too. So it's like he's gotta be feeling pretty good for himself. And now we get to hear from the anchor Urio, who actually hasn't had his chance to play just yet, but we're still awaiting the Ace's return, right? But looking at what has been said so far, John Takeuchi was talking about it. You know, it was a tough game. He did take the L, and he wants to be more like Itazan. That's a pretty big.
I don't think I've heard that from many people except for grappler players. So does that mean John Takeuchi's going to be more on the grappler side of things? We'll have to see. Oreo says, Itazan, thank you. I haven't played today. Our team tactics that are so good. He said he will play in October. So if you were waiting some Rose play, not going to happen today, but it will happen in October. That's when the Ace will return. It's hard to say he's returned because he hasn't really played yet, but the Ace will come through in clutch for the team. But I like that Orio's got putting out the team composition and the team strategy that we see in terms of being ready for that best of one situation where I feel like Inaba maybe not so ready for that match. Surprise.
今日は気持ちよく寝れるんじゃないかなって。
これアウェー側でのこの勝利の仕方。
Inaba John match our team lost.
Yeah, I wanted to wait until like to kind of like see more of the translation to kind of get the full context of what he was actually saying, right? In regards to like that specific one, like he was touching on like the Inaba John matchup. But I guess I mean like what is that? Just is that everything? I feel like maybe I want to try to put together like maybe the actual like context. Obviously I don't understand what he's saying, but he was talking about like the Inaba John match. He was probably thinking to himself like maybe his team is pretty much done for, but going into it, he did mention afterwards that the anchor match game was tough, and the best of one, that's where he really shines. So he's totally cool with that, and he can sleep well. I'd imagine, yeah, I think the confidence was wavering in regards to the Inaba John match. That's what I would imagine. I didn't want to just kind of like read it. I kind of wanted to see if there's a little bit more context to it. But as it stands right now, yeah, I think Itazan again gotta be feeling really good about himself as he's expressing.
Definitely should be feeling like he's going to have that wiry smile that you're typically used to seeing from Iidazan, as he's happy to take for his team in the anchor match. You know, and again, I have to keep pointing this out. It's so important to have that team aspect, strategy, being prepared for the new systems. It's not just a 1v1 for the team tournament sort of style. It's something different with it, and they were prepared today. Looks like they're looking forward to what they can do in October to bring. October will bring for their team, and he said that their support, your support, I should say, is highly appreciated. It's hard not to support him and how well he played today for all these teams actually, but especially Iidazan, his team, to be able to bring it back with the Abigail versus Abigail match, and then that best of one in a difficult position, but they're able to take it. It's hard not to support that sort of play.
いやこれでもやっぱり対空というか上からかぶせに行く特に後半戦ですよ2ラウンド目1ラウンド目でこれちょっと対空出てないんじゃないってなった時にこう板橋アビエルがそこのまあその隙をついたというか2試合がもう行くっしょっていう感じでかなり飛びが機能したそしてalmost all of them
really streaming their runs, whether it be like warming up with ranked play, opening up some of the battle lounges for other players. They're really putting in that work, and it's really, really fun to watch, especially if you're a fan of Street Fighter 5 or even a fan of some of these players or characters, etc. Right? Let's take a look at the current stats between these two. Again, Iidabashi, nothing really to write home about in regards to the stats because, again, it was a best of one, so you're not going to see that many numbers on the board, but the significant one will probably be like the grab throw percentage, 50% from the side of Iidabashi. But again, I'm surprised we didn't see a lot more. He didn't really need it, but at the same time, it's like, you know, it's Iidabashi, man. He likes to grapple.
Definitely likes to get down and dirty with the grabs and things like that, but he didn't really need it, as you pointed out, especially at the very end there when he caged up Inaba, the Jalen no bail, using that heavy kick to catch Inaba before he can even leave. Fantastic play. Right now you see the 25 points on the board versus the 20 points. Team Detonation leaving with the majority right here, and just sapping away a few points here from the side of Iisuka, but they're still walking away with a sizable amount too as well. Still good on them to get that win. We definitely would not want to have the reverse. Now we're going to get back to these matches. Crusher versus Nauman. This looked like Crusher had it in the bag. Looking at Crusher, just was running rough, and that's how it really began with this corner pressure. Look at how confident he is. Able to use that B skill too as well. And outside the distance for the fireball and the buttons of Luke.
Yeah, I think that was the most impressive play that I've seen from Crusher thus far, being able to control somebody like Nauman the way that he did. And I will say, I hope they caught that funky interaction. I was really looking forward to seeing that. That has to be like a highlight, right? That has to be a highlight because it was towards the end of the round. But you saw little shades of potential coming in from Nauman in regards to like how his offense really is. I think there's one thing to really highlight about it. It's exactly how that's the one! Oh. That is so weird. That's unfortunate too.
Yeah, that was not the best interaction right there from Nauman. And still able to get the anti right there. Crusher doing fantastic, space himself out right. Now we are to another Bison and Cody match. John Takuchi trying to get revenge, but wasn't able to do so in the end because Inaba was playing so well on defense, denying a lot of what this character wanted to do. John Takuchi also was not able to use the V trigger in kind of the way you typically were able to see. He had some decent setups in the corner, but when it came to mid-screen or even neutral, it felt like he didn't know how to like utilize those buttons as well or comfortably as someone like Momochi or what have you. So we'll have to go back to lab with that V trigger.
We saw this matchup again. We talked about Iidabashi expressing his concern about this matchup, but when John Takuchi had fallen short against Inaba, it was pretty significant. That was a cool transition, by the way. That was a little funky. Boom, look at that. Yeah, the command grab. I don't think we saw a lot of utilization of V-Trigger 2 to the success that John Takuchi was expecting, but, you know, I gotta say, like, it was a good effort. I wanted to see, like, maybe V-Trigger 1 against Chuck, but going into this final match against Kubo versus Iidazan. How did you feel about this one, Simple?
I feel like this was a wild mirror match, but you definitely see the defensive play, working around the anti-airs for the crouch fierce every so often, staying outside the distance, looking for activations too as well, despite it being a tale of both have the same weapons. It was great to see them work around each other's options, and you could tell that they knew each other quite a bit with it. So Kubo had some great moments. We saw him see those whip punches and also not go for Abigail punch when he knew it wasn't going to hit, but it was Ida-san able to stay more solid and utilize that bar a lot better. The meter management was really good on Ida-san's side. The V trigger, but look at these punishes ever so often from Storm Kubo, dealing with that V trigger, just not enough. And that bar all built up at the bottom for that super at that last hit took us to the first to one, aka the first to death that we're about to see here in a second.
I love watching the camera from Inabashi's side, man. Like when that critical art landed, he done the gamer lean in excitement. He went past the 15 degrees that you would normally expect. But going on to the next match again, yeah, once he caught Inaba slipping with that dash up, it was all downhill. Look at that, now he's abusing Inaba in the corner.
That heavy kick, catching him leaving, couldn't use the EX right there. Caught him not trying to get the back throw, but there you go, Ida-san rearing back like that, cheerful with a smile on his face. That's how you know that was a good victory. And we see Ida-san really taking it for his team, really showing out for his team. But overall, his team did very well. You know, even with John Takuchi maybe not making the results that he had, as you point out, maybe with the switch to another like V trigger in those sequences, if V trigger 2 isn't working out, we might have seen something different with it. But got to give props out to Crusher. Also finally getting his first win up in these situations, doing some work with the birdie against Luke, even in these funky situations where you have to cross up, able to stay solid. Overall, fantastic matches overall today. Not only with these, but the ones prior to as well. We see the match lineup, Gyogun getting eaten up by Saishun Kansou Kumoto, 310, and then Itsuka, 20 to 25 Team Detonation walking with the victory.
Not too bad if you're Team Ikuza, right? Although you are in last place on the leaderboards, I think getting 20 for losing is a pretty significant deal, right? So you kind of want to avoid those situations altogether from either team. But either way, that's just how it goes sometimes with the sudden death rule. I mean, I think it's better than tying it on 20 to 20. As it stands right now, we have our two winners against Saishun Kansou Kumamoto and Camouflage Detonation for this week's first half of the team battle. Let's take a look at the standings. Good 8 squad is currently in first. Nagoya Ojo Body Star Mildam in second. Saishun Kansou Kumamoto in third. Shinobiism Gaming falling a little bit short, now being knocked into fourth. They haven't had a chance to play yet though. Camouflage Detonation up to 5th place. Gyogun in 6th. V6 plus FAV Gaming in 7th. At the very bottom, with still a chance, it's Team Ikuza. And then coming in next week, we do have some of those teams playing the rest of their matches out. Again, V6 plus FAV Gaming going up against Good 8 Squad. That's going to be absolutely explosive. It's the rematch. And then, of course, the Nagoya Ojo Body Star Mildam Beast versus Shinobiism Gaming happening next week.
Absolute flames and fire coming through Street Fighter League Japan. We are done with the first month. The first month is completed, but we have way more to go. That means way more matches, way more action, and hopefully way more upsets we're going to be able to see. With these teams so stacked, it's so hard to call who's going to take the victory. Even before this, we were chatting, and it's so difficult to say this person's going to take it, even in the individual matches like that. And I'm so glad that we are only just beginning this league.
Yeah, because we have plenty more to go, right? Even after what concludes for week number 4, we still have week number 5. We're not going to get too ahead of schedule, but you can see what teams are playing, right? It's going to be V6 plus FAV Gaming, starting things off with Saishun Kansou Kumamoto from the beginning of week number 5, and the Good 8 Squad versus Nagoya Ojo Body Stars. What happens in the schedule is we got to show everybody off, right? Everybody's got to go in the away spot and the home spot. It's going to be a full-on season with all 8 teams. It's going to be pretty exciting. So St. Cola, any final closing thoughts?
All I'm going to say is I'll see you in the streets. Good night.